Chapter 1419. In the arena of the hidden dragon fortress. With the help of more than half of the 8th and 4/5 of the 9th purple lightning, Yuharen's physical body had not only successfully advanced to a 3rd-grade pinnacle martial honorable, but had also directly reached the peak of 3rd-grade pinnacle martial honorable. As the Supreme Huazuan Pill and Emperor Essence Pill were used to assist in the breakthrough, he only needed to withstand the baptism of the 9 purple lightning bolts before the pill tribulation would automatically end. Looking up at the milky white energy that was being used as a reward in the dark clouds, Yuharen returned to his original body and sat cross-legged on the arena. He felt the changes in his physical body's strength after the upgrade and waited for the pill tribulation to end. Looking at Yuharen, who was sitting cross-legged on the arena, no matter if it was an ordinary cultivator or a pinnacle martial honorable, there was a strong sense of envy and admiration in their eyes. Although the tribulation just now was extremely dangerous, the gains during the tribulation were also quite shocking. After all, the entire tribulation had only taken about 20 minutes. Yuharen's physical body had originally been at the peak of 1st-grade pinnacle martial honorable, but now it had reached the peak of 3rd-grade pinnacle martial honorable. Under normal circumstances, even a top monstrous genius would need at least 5 years, and at most 10 years, to complete the advancement of 2 small realms in the body grade. Moreover, the reward after the pill tribulation was probably not inferior to the energy of the purple lightning bolts. When the milky white energy in the dark clouds reached its limit, it washed down like a waterfall. Although the Emperor Essence Pill that was floating in the air had the geographical advantage as the main force to withstand the lightning tribulation, Yuharen received far more milky white energy than the Emperor Essence Pill. When the milky white energy entered his body, Yuharen was pleasantly surprised to find that the milky white energy's main effect was to strengthen his origin energy and soul. His soul, which had been surpassed by his physical body's grade, quickly reached the peak of 3rd-grade pinnacle martial honorable with the help of the milky white energy. In the end, it reached the same grade as his physical body. His origin energy, which was originally only at the peak of 1st-grade pinnacle martial honorable, finally reached the peak of 3rd-grade pinnacle martial honorable with the help of the milky white energy. Yuharen felt that his body was brimming with an enormous amount of energy after his physical body's grade, origin energy, and soul power had been greatly enhanced. If he were to face Gusheng now, he believed that he would not need to use any of his trump cards. He could easily defeat Gusheng with his own strength. However, compared to the increase in his own strength, Yuharen was more concerned about the Emperor Essence Pill. He stood up and raised his hand towards the Emperor Essence Pill floating in midair. The Emperor Essence Pill slowly fell into his palm. At this time, not only was the color of the Emperor Essence Pill as clear as crystal, but its grade had also unexpectedly reached the 3rd grade of the 2nd stage. Its effect was far better than the 1st grade of the 2nd stage of the Emperor Essence Pill that was auctioned back then. Pill Emperor Yu, I wonder what the origin of the pill in your hand is, and what grade it ultimately reached. The purple-clothed, middle-aged expert slowly descended onto the arena from midair and asked nervously. Although the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert had already guessed the origin of the pill through the power of attraction emitted by the pill, he now wanted to get confirmation from Yuharen. The purple-clothed, middle-aged expert's question was also what all the top martial venerables and Emperor Wu almighty experts wanted to ask, so everyone's eyes were instantly focused on Yuharen. Facing the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert's interrogation and the gaze of everyone present, Yuharen directly threw the Emperor Essence Pill in his hand to Qian Yunjin and let her announce the origin and grade of the Emperor Essence Pill. Then, he jumped off the arena and walked to Ancestor Yuan and Tung Yunjia. Junior greets Ancestor Yuan and Senior Brother Yunjia. Yuharen greeted very enthusiastically. "You're too polite, Prince Consort." Seeing that Yuharen did not become arrogant and rude after winning the championship of the Southern Region Hidden Dragon list and breaking through to the Pill Emperor Realm in Alchemy, Ancestor Yuan was very gratified and smiled in return. "Prince Consort, you really made me look at you in a new light." Compared to the breakthrough of the alchemy emperor realm, what truly shocked Teng Yunjie was that not only did Yu Haoran obtain the champion of the southern region's hidden dragon rankings, but his seven-color colossal dragon had also obtained the blessing of the hidden dragon destiny to reach 10,000 meters. This was something that had never happened in the history of the regional hidden dragon list. Senior brother Yunjie, what's your final ranking in the central region hidden dragon list? Yu Haoran asked with a smile, ignoring Teng Yunjie's sigh. This kid's performance is very bad, and he's only ranked 13th on the list in the end. Before Teng Yunjie could answer Yu Haoran's question, Ancestor Yuan immediately complained with dissatisfaction. In fact, Ancestor Yuan was quite satisfied with Teng Yunjie's performance in the hidden dragon list at the beginning. After all, most of the monstrous geniuses in the Tianxian continent were concentrated in the central region. Teng Yunjie was able to stand out from so many monstrous powerhouses and finally ranked 13th on the list, which was enough to prove his excellence and hard work. However, the manifestation of the 5-region hidden dragon list champions Phantom and Yu Haoran's 10,000-meter rainbow dragon with the blessing of the hidden dragon's luck made him envious and jealous. He also began to be dissatisfied with Teng Yunjie's performance. In this regard, Yu Haoran did not know how to answer. Teng Yunjie could only shake his head with a bitter smile. That's right, it's indeed the Emperor Yuan pill that can assist in breaking through to the Emperor Wu realm. At this moment, Qian Yunjin's extremely excited voice came from the arena. Moreover, it's the Emperor Yuan pill that has reached the 2nd grade. The success rate of assisting in breaking through to the Emperor Wu realm is as high as 30% to 50%. After hearing Qian Yunjin's detailed introduction of the pill in her hand, the momentum of the entire central square not only instantly quieted down, but also could clearly hear the sudden rapid heartbeats of the people present. Ancestor Yuan, Brother Yunjie, you guys take a rest for a while. I'll go and deal with the Emperor Yuan pill first. Since Qian Yunjin had already introduced the quality and grade of the Emperor Yuan pill in detail, the next step was to deal with the ownership of the Emperor Yuan pill. Therefore, Yu Haoran signaled to Ancestor Yuan and Teng Yunjie, and then returned to the arena. After returning to the arena, Yu Haoran did not say a word, and only looked at Qian Yunjin. Although Yu Haoran did not say a word, Qian Yunjin understood his meaning. Looking down at the Emperor Yuan pill in her hand, Qian Yunjin's eyes revealed a trace of reluctance. If the Qian family could obtain this Emperor Yuan pill, then by the end of the 5-region hidden dragon list competition, the Qian family would directly have 2 more powerful powerhouses at the level of Emperor Wu realm. Chapter 1420. In the arena of the hidden dragon fortress, Yu Haoran nodded in satisfaction as he looked at Qian Yunjin, who had finally restrained her greed and respectfully returned the Emperor Essence pill. After all, not everyone could resist the strong impact of the Emperor Essence pill that could help Emperor Wu break through to the next realm. Moreover, the higher one's cultivation was, the more difficult it was to resist the fatal temptation of the Emperor Essence pill. Qian Yunjin was able to restrain the greed in her heart, which showed that her state of mind was far beyond her realm. It also proved that she was a person with strong self-control. This kind of self-control was one of the keys to breaking through to the pill Emperor realm. Then, he raised his head and looked at the countless experts in the stands with a faint smile on his face. Senior Yunjin's introduction of the Emperor Essence pill is both correct and incorrect. Pill Emperor Yu, what do you mean? After nearly 100 years of cultivation, although she wasn't as good as Yu Haoran in terms of alchemy, Qian Yunjin believed that she wasn't inferior to him in terms of knowledge of alchemy. Therefore, she questioned Yu Haoran's evaluation of the Emperor Essence pill with some dissatisfaction. Senior Yunjin, your introduction of the Emperor Essence pill was based on the energy contained within the pill and your own knowledge of alchemy, right? Yu Haoran didn't get angry in the face of Qian Yunjin's questioning. That's right. Qian Yunjin nodded in response. Senior Yunjin, if the Emperor Essence pill was refined according to the normal alchemy method, your explanation would be correct. However, having said that, Yu Haoran tossed the pill in his hand high into the air. Then, his 10 fingers quickly formed a seal and merged with the pill. Then, a majestic dragon with a pair of wings on its back appeared inside the crystal clear Emperor Essence pill. This is the Ing Dragon, known as the Hidden Dragon. The purple-clothed, middle-aged expert immediately pointed out the origin of the dragon that appeared inside the pill. That's right. The dragon that appeared inside the pill is indeed the Ing Dragon, known as the Hidden Dragon. Nodding, Yu Haoran confirmed the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert's identification. He put away the elixir and explained with a smile. Senior Yunjun, seniors present, the 9 pills that I refined at the beginning are called the Primary Emperor Pill. It's a type of... Yu Haoran looked at the Grade 2, Grade 3 Emperor Essence Pill in his hand after briefly introducing the unique effects of the Emperor Essence Pill. He ignored the astonishment in everyone's eyes and spoke in a gratified tone. The Emperor Essence Pill that has fused with the essence of 8 second-tier, first-grade Emperor Essence embryonic pills not only has the Emperor Essence Pill's assistance in breaking through to Emperor Wu's realm, but it also has the luck and probability to increase the chances of breaking through. Glancing at the purple-robed, middle-aged expert in the arena, then at the Ancestor Yuan below the arena, and finally at the top martial venerables and peerless experts in the surrounding stands, Yu Haoran reintroduced the Emperor Yuan Pill with strong confidence. Seniors, the elixir that I refined just now is called the Emperor Yuan Pill. It's a Grade 2, Grade 3 Emperor Essence Pill. It has a 30% to 100% chance of breaking through to Emperor Wu's realm. Yu Haoran's explanation and the final evaluation of the Emperor Yuan Pill's assistance in breaking through to Emperor Wu's realm caused the atmosphere to reach its peak. At this moment, not to mention the top martial venerables and the almighty experts who were about to break through to Emperor Wu, even the ordinary martial venerables and martial saints revealed a look of desire in their eyes. Haha! Just as everyone present was completely shocked by the heaven-defying effects of the Grade 2, Grade 3 Emperor Yuan Pill, a happy laughter quickly approached the Hidden Dragon Fortress. Amethyst Elder, strong enemy. The 6 robed elders sitting in the air were limited by their own cultivations. Their desire for the Emperor Yuan Pill was not as strong as the purple-robed middle-aged expert. Therefore, they were the first to wake up from the laughter. Then, the white-robed elder used a trace of soul power to remind the purple-robed middle-aged expert. Just by sensing the aura, the purple-robed middle-aged expert knew that he was not a match for the strong enemy who was quickly approaching the Hidden Dragon Fortress. Therefore, he quickly returned to the Purple Dragon throne and planned to awaken the Hidden Dragon luck on the list. Suddenly, he heard Yu Haoran's laughter. Junior Yu Haoran greets Senior Xinghai. Yu Haoran smiled and greeted Elder Xinghai, who quickly appeared in the central square. Little friend, you're too polite. Elder Xinghai, who quickly appeared in the arena, quickly returned the greeting. Now, little friend, you have successfully advanced to the Pill Emperor realm. Your status and influence are comparable to Emperor Wu's realm. You must not mention the words senior. Pill Emperor Yu, Elder Xinghai was right. We old fellows are no longer qualified to be called seniors in front of you. Just as Elder Xinghai returned the greeting, a voice filled with endless emotion sounded. Accompanied by the emotional voice, the elder in the flowery robe and the other hidden experts, who had an agreement with each other after the auction, appeared in the arena at the same time. Including Elder Xinghai, who had arrived early, the number of hidden experts who had gathered in the arena reached 11. Among them, the weakest of them, the skinny elder, was at the middle stage of the 3 calamities Emperor Wu. The strongest one, the elder in the flowery robe, was at the peak of the 3 calamities Emperor Wu, facing the terrifying aura of the 11 hidden experts, not to mention Wu Jingjun and the Sword Without Trace. Even Qian Yunjin, who was at the peak of the 7th grade martial venerable, had to retreat. In the end, she had no choice but to temporarily leave the arena. The purple-robed, middle-aged expert and the other peak martial venerables were even more solemn. Little friend, The reason why this old man came late was to prepare a congratulatory gift for you to advance to the Pill Emperor realm. After Yu Haoran and the others greeted each other, Elder Xinghai took out a jade box made of deep-sea green jade and handed it to him with a smile. "Senior Xinghai, you're too polite." Although Yu Haoran was polite, his hands were very impolite as he took the jade box. After all, for a reclusive three calamities quasi, Emperor Wu like Elder Xinghai, to be able to take out a carefully prepared congratulatory gift, it must be a rare treasure. In the end, whether he accepted it or not was one thing. Seeing it with his own eyes was also beneficial to broaden his horizons and expand his experience. This is the purple gold dragon ginseng that has reached the peak of the 9th grade of the 2nd rank. Looking at the golden dragon ginseng that was exactly the same as the purple dragon in the jade box, except that it was thousands of times smaller in size, Yu Haoran's breathing became heavier as he shouted. Yu Haoran's shout made Qian Yunjin and Sun Sichao, who were proficient in alchemy, tremble. Their eyes revealed an incomparably shocked expression. Chapter 1421. Hidden Dragon Fortress. On the arena, Elder Blue's subconscious order immediately woke Sun Sichao up from his shock. Following that, his eyes revealed a strong sense of envy as he explained. Replying to Elder Blue, the purple gold dragon ginseng is also known as the body-refining divine medicine. It is a kind of top spiritual medicine that can be directly swallowed to greatly increase the grade of the physical body. It can also be used as the main medicine to refine a special grade of the physical body. Speaking of this, Sun Sichao raised his hand and pointed at Yu Haoran on the arena as an example. With the physical body of a peak 3rd grade martial revered Pill Emperor, if he directly swallowed the 2nd grade 9th grade purple gold dragon ginseng, it is very likely that he will directly break through to the peak 5th grade or the early 6th grade realm. With Pill Emperor's ability to refine pills, if he uses the 2nd grade 9th grade purple gold dragon ginseng as the main medicine, he may be able to refine a pill that is suitable to raise the physical body of a peak 9th grade martial revered Pill Emperor and the quasi-emperor Emperor Wu. Sun Sichao's explanation and example of the 2nd grade 9th grade purple gold dragon ginseng shocked everyone present. At the same time, it also caused the eyes of the peak martial revered experts to reveal incomparable expectation and desire. They were looking forward to Yu Haoran using the 2nd grade 9th grade purple gold dragon ginseng to refine the best body refining pills. They were eager to be able to exchange for the best body refining pills from Yu Haoran. After all, only peerless experts whose cultivation had reached the peak of 7th grade martial revered Pill Emperor and above could truly understand the importance of the physical body grade to Emperor Wu's breakthrough. This was also the important reason why they were envious and jealous of Yu Haoran being able to possess the physical body of a peak 3rd grade martial revered Pill Emperor when his cultivation was only at the peak of 9th grade martial saint. "Senior Xinghai, your gift is too precious. I really can't accept it." After closing the jade box again and handing it to Elder Xinghai, Yu Haoran's eyes revealed a trace of reluctance as he refused. Although Sun Sichao's introduction of the 2nd grade 9th grade purple gold dragon ginseng was very correct, it was not very comprehensive. Using 2nd tier 9th grade purple gold dragon ginseng as the main ingredient, and then supplemented with 8 herbs that contain the characteristics of the divine dragon, it could refine a very special kind of body refining elixir. This special body refining pill was called the 9 Revolutions Dragon Emperor Pill. It was one of the 7 pill recipes that Lousy Shadow had passed down. 1 revolution, 1 realm, 9 transformations to become an immortal god. Using the purple gold dragon ginseng at the peak of 2nd grade 9th grade as the main ingredient, the Dragon Emperor Pill refined could reach the 8th revolution. It could help peak 9th grade martial revered and quasi-emperor realm experts to directly break through to the Emperor Wu realm. Young friend, since it's a gift, there's no reason to take it back. Faced with Yu Haoran's rejection, Elder Xinghai threatened with a smile. Furthermore, if you're unwilling to accept this purple gold dragon ginseng, I'll sell it at a cheap price of a first-grade 10th level spirit stone. Facing Elder Xinghai's kind threat, the reluctance in Yu Haoran's eyes was immediately replaced by determination. After taking back the jade box containing the purple gold dragon ginseng and a victor in his sea of consciousness, he cupped his hands and said to Elder Xinghai, "Senior Xinghai, if you can find the rank 2 grade 1 dragon's blood grass, rank 2 grade 2 dragon's blood flower, rank 2 grade 3 dragon's bloodwood, rank 2 grade 4 dragon's blood fruit, rank 2 grade 9 purple gold dragon ginseng as the main ingredient, Junior can help you refine and rank 8 dragon emperor pellet that can directly break through the rank of martial emperor's body." Yu Haoran's promise to Elder Xinghai not only caused Elder Xinghai's body to tremble, the other 10 hidden experts and everyone present also revealed incomparably shocked expressions in their eyes. "Young friend, are you sure that the 8 Revolutions Dragon Emperor Pill can directly break through to the Emperor Wu realm?" Elder Xinghai asked excitedly. Second grade, first grade Star Source Congealing Spirit Pill was a top medicinal pill that could be used to assist the soul to break through to the Emperor Wu realm. The 8 Revolutions Dragon Emperor Pill was a top medicinal pill used to assist the body to break through to the martial venerable realm. With the help of these 2 medicinal pills, both the soul power and the body could be promoted to the Emperor Wu realm. Not only the hope of breaking through to the Emperor Wu realm in the future would be greatly improved, but he could also become the ultimate powerhouse in the 3 Tribulations Emperor Wu realm in one fell swoop. Senior, the 9 Revolutions Dragon Emperor Pill and the 9 Revolutions Golden Pill were both created by the number 1 alchemist in the Middle Ages. The difference is that the 9 Revolutions Golden Pill needle is aimed at the martial artist's overall cultivation, while the 9 Revolutions Dragon Emperor Pill is aimed at the martial artist's body. Through the examples of the 9 Revolutions Golden Pill and the 9 Revolutions Dragon Emperor Pill, Yu Haoran believed that Elder Xinghai would definitely believe in the powerful effect of the 8 Revolutions Dragon Emperor Pill. At the same time, he gave an even more convincing reason. If Senior can take out 8 auxiliary medicinal materials now, this Junior will immediately start refining the 8 Revolutions Dragon Emperor Pill for Senior. After receiving Yu Haoran's powerful reply, Elder Xinghai took 3 deep breaths and requested, "Young friend, can you wait for an hour?" "Senior, let alone an hour. This Junior will be patient enough to wait for an entire day." Yu Haoran replied with a smile. "Thank you." After cupping his hands and thanking him, Elder Xinghai instantly left the hidden dragon fortress. Then, he tore through the void to collect the 8 auxiliary medicinal materials. After Elder Xinghai left, Yu Haoran cupped his hands and reminded Hua Pao and the others, "After this Junior has dealt with this rank 2, rank 3 Emperor Pill in my hands, I'll gradually fulfill my promise with the seniors." Rank 2, rank 3 Emperor Pill. After hearing Yu Haoran's reminder, Hua Pao and the others finally noticed that the pill in Yu Haoran's hand had a familiar aura. They recalled the remnant lightning energy of the pill tribulation in the castle when they first entered the hidden dragon fortress. Now that they knew that the pill in Yu Haoran's hand was an Emperor Pill, they did not need to guess or ask too much. They knew that the rank 2, rank 3 Emperor Pill must have come from Yu Haoran. "Young friend, may I ask if we can continue to compete for the Emperor Pill?" Elder Xinghai asked carefully. After all, the Emperor Pill at the auction venue was indirectly destroyed in the hands of this group of reclusive experts. Of course, although the dozens of top-notch martial venerables and quasi-martial emperors present had extraordinary origins and definitely had many top-notch treasures in their hands, compared to the hermit experts like the old man in the flowery robe who came and went alone, the number and quality of the top-notch treasures in their hands were not just a little bit inferior. Therefore, Yu Haoran was more willing to let the reclusive experts like Elder Xinghai participate in the competition for the rank 2, rank 3 Emperor Pill. After receiving Yu Haoran's confirmation, Elder Xinghai looked at each other and then retreated to the bottom of the arena. Qian Yunjin, Wu Zhengjun, and the sword without trace also returned to the arena. After explaining the powerful effects of the rank 2, rank 3 Emperor Pill to Elder Xinghai and the others, Yu Haoran looked at the crowd and said, Chapter 1422. In the Arena of the Hidden Dragon Fortress. Elixir Emperor Yu, I, Easy Lay, am willing to give you a lower Emperor Realm Sword with an implement spirit. Do you agree? Just as Yu Haoran finished speaking, a peak martial saint on the north side of the spectator stand immediately shouted out the price of the trade. A magic weapon would always be a magic weapon. Even if it was a complete Emperor weapon with a weapon spirit, it could not be compared to an almighty expert who had reached the martial Emperor realm. Therefore, in the face of Ziming's offer, Yu Haoran rejected it with a laugh. Elixir Emperor Yu, I, Qi Minghai, am willing to give you a middle Emperor Realm Sword with an implement spirit and 3 lower-level 5 spiritual veins in exchange. Do you agree? Yu Haoran, who is also a peak martial saint from the north side of the spectator stand, chuckled. Then he quickly took out his chips. Yu Haoran also rejected the offer with a laugh. Elixir Emperor Yu, I, Liang, am willing to give you 3 superior Venerable Realm Swords, 1 lower Emperor Realm Sword, 1 middle Emperor Realm Sword, and 9 pieces of black iron green gold in exchange. Do you agree? One of the quasi-Emperor powerhouses on the west side of the spectator stands also quickly took out his chips. Yu Haoran continued to reject the offer with a laugh. Pill Emperor Yu, I, Run Yuong, am willing to give you a low-grade Emperor Realm defensive artifact with an artifact spirit, a mid-grade Emperor Realm Sword with an artifact spirit, 3 low-grade 5th level spirit veins, and 5 fist-sized 9 Heaven Star obsidian in exchange. Are you satisfied with this? A middle-aged, top-notch martial venerable expert on the west side of the spectator stands also offered an attractive bargaining chip. Although Yu Haoran also rejected the offer with a laugh, the smile on his face gradually disappeared. After the self-destruction of the natal sword at the wedding and the humiliation of the way of the sword at the auction in Twin Bull Mountain, everyone present should know that he in the way of the sword had a deep grudge. In that case, the 4 of them had taken out low-level and mid-level Emperor-level swords as bargaining chips. Weren't they just trying to embarrass him? Therefore, as the smile on his face gradually disappeared, he made a decision in his heart. No matter who proposed using a sword as a bargaining chip, even if it was a top-grade Emperor sword, not only would that person not receive the Emperor Yuan pill, he would also not refine any pills for that person after the transaction. Elixir Emperor Yu, I am willing to give you a lower Emperor Realm Cauldron, 5 level 2 pill recipes from level 1 to level 5, 10 level 2 spiritual herbs from level 1 to level 9, and 3 lower level 5 spiritual veins in exchange. Do you agree? As an alchemy grandmaster, he did not have any sense of superiority in front of top martial venerables and Emperor Wu almighty experts. Sun Xichao did not have the right to compete for the Emperor pill. However, when he thought of the 9th elder, who was cultivating in the family, who was already at the peak of level 9 martial venerable, he thought about it. If he used a level 2, level 3 Emperor pill with the help of the Sun Clan's unique spiritual liquid, he would have a 70 to 80% chance of breaking through to Emperor Wu's realm. Sun Xichao decided to take the risk and compete for the Emperor pill. As long as the Sun Clan had their own Emperor Wu almighty expert, they would be able to break away from the rule of the Lan clan and become a truly independent alchemy clan. This was the goal that the Sun Clan had been fighting for generations. Hearing Sun Xichao's conditions, the smile on Yu Haoran's face reappeared. However, he still shook his head and rejected the deal. The Nihility Pill condensation technique was divided into 3 levels. The first level was to condense the pill fire into an independent space. Then, the Dantian flame would replace the cauldron's fire and the independent space would replace the cauldron's fire. The independent space of the pill fire was equivalent to a top-grade Sage Realm Cauldron. The second level was the Heaven and Earth Cauldron. The Divine Soul Flame would replace the cauldron's fire and the Heaven and Earth would replace the cauldron's fire. The Heaven and Earth Cauldron was equivalent to a top-grade Emperor Realm Cauldron. The third level was the true nihility pill condensation technique. The divine soul flame of all living beings would replace the cauldron's fire, and the endless void would replace the cauldron's fire. The nihility pill condensation technique was equivalent to a top-grade God Realm cauldron. Now that his alchemy Tao had reached the peak of the initial pill Emperor realm, his nihility pill condensation technique was about to reach the second level. Hence, the Emperor realm cauldron was not attractive at all. As for the 5 second level pill recipes from the 1st to the 5th level, he had hundreds of pill recipes of this level in his hands. It did not have any attraction at all. Yu Haoran's rejection made Sun Sichao very disappointed. At the same time, he began to consider whether to secretly inform the experts in the clan to prepare more precious treasures to participate in the competition. Pill Emperor Yu. My surname is Chui. I'm from the Chui clan of the Central Region. After Yu Haoran rejected Sun Sichao's deal, the peerless martial revered expert with the surname Chui, who had evaluated Yu Haoran 4 times, stood up and introduced himself with a smile. Junior Yu Haoran greets Senior Chui. The other party did not deliberately lower his voice when evaluating him during the competition. The tone of his evaluation revealed goodwill, which also let him know that the other party did not have any ill intentions. Therefore, in the face of the peerless martial revered expert with the surname Chui, Yu Haoran also politely returned the greeting. Pill Emperor Yu, in my Chui clan, there's a treasured land where one can comprehend different laws. I'll use the opportunity to enter the treasured land and comprehend the laws as a trade. I wonder if you agree? Yu Haoran's refined and courteous attitude made the peerless martial revered expert with the surname Chui very satisfied. Then, he smiled and said the bargaining chip of the deal. The conditions proposed by the peerless martial revered expert with the surname Chui made Yu Haoran very tempted. This was because the later stages of a cultivator's cultivation, the greater the influence of the laws on the cultivator's strength. If one comprehended more laws and the quality of the laws, then the influence on one's strength would be more profound. However, the peerless martial revered expert with the surname Chui was too naive to want to obtain a second-level, third-level Emperor Yuan pill that could assist in breaking through to Emperor Wu's realm with just one chance to enter the treasured land to comprehend the laws. Moreover, in a few months' time, the Blue Moon Secret Realm's Void Fruit would appear. At that time, he would let Thowling use a special secret technique to seal a portion of his strength. Then, he would cooperate with the Secret Realm's overlord, Palace. He would definitely be able to snatch the Void Fruit that was sufficient to assist in comprehending the laws. Therefore, after a short moment of consideration, Yu Haoran smiled and shook his head to refuse. Chapter 1423. In the Arena of the Hidden Dragon Fortress. Prince Consort, I am willing to take out 200 stocks of level 4 grade 1 to level 9, 100 stocks of level 3 grade 1 to level 9, 10 stocks of level 2 grade 1 to level 9, 10 drops of 1000 medicine liquid, 10 drops of 1000 medicine milk, and 1 piece of 1000 medicine cream. I don't know if it can move your heart. Ancestor Yuan, who had dealt with Yu Haoran several times, knew very well what kind of treasure could move Yu Haoran's heart, so he was very confident in putting forward the bargaining chip. Senior, I will refine the Icy Heart Jade Bone Elixir and the 3-Striped Spirit Clearing Elixir for you in a while, so don't get involved in the competition for the Emperor Yuan Elixir. If Yu Haoran had not broken through to the Alchemy Emperor realm, the bargaining chip that Ancestor Yuan had just put forward might move him. But now, unless it was a very special kind of elixir, otherwise, he was not very interested in elixirs below level 2. What's more, with Ancestor Yuan's strength in the First Tribulation Quasi, Emperor Wu realm, and the influence of the Heavenly Martial sect in the Tianxin continent, getting the level 2 grade 3 Emperor Yuan elixir was a disaster for him, not a blessing. However, with his special relationship with Ancestor Yuan, he could not directly refuse the deal, so he could only use 2 kinds of elixirs to help him pass through the Second Tribulation and the Third Tribulation Quasi, Emperor Wu realm, to dispel his idea of participating in the competition. But what he never expected was that after hearing about the icy heart jade bone elixir and the three-striped spirit clearing elixir, several powerful experts in the quasi, Emperor Wu realm, and ordinary peerless martial venerables immediately lit up with unusual excitement in their eyes. Okay. Although he did not know why Yu Haoran did not let him participate in the competition for the Emperor Yuan elixir, using the other two kinds of elixirs to raise his strength to the third tribulation quasi, Emperor Wu realm, and then find a way to break through to the Emperor Wu realm was not a bad method, so Ancestor Yuan readily agreed. Little friend, I have 3 green-souled god-destroying balls that can kill a first tribulation quasi-Emperor Wu, a second stage 9th rank green flame grass, a second stage 9th rank pill formula, and a thumb-sized mysterious heaven chalcedony. I wonder if these are enough to exchange for the supreme essence pill in your hand? Although the old man didn't have much contact with Yu Haoran, he was good at observing things. Through the changes in Yu Haoran's expression when the 7 people before him gave out their chips, he could roughly guess what kind of treasure could tempt Yu Haoran. Therefore, after careful consideration, the old man gave Yu Haoran a bargaining chip that he believed could move Yu Haoran. Just as the old man had guessed, Yu Haoran's eyes immediately revealed a hint of excitement after hearing the old man's offer. He did not care about the Tier 2, Tier 9 green flame grass and the Tier 2, Tier 9 pill formula. What really moved him was the mysterious heavenly chalcedony. The mysterious heavenly chalcedony was the same as the essence. They were both nurtured by spirit veins. The difference was that the essence was nurtured by level 4 and level 5 spirit veins, while the mysterious heavenly chalcedony was nurtured by level 2 and level 3 spirit veins. This also led to a world of difference in a martial artist's talent and physique. Little friend, 10 Bodhi leaves, 5 drops of Bodhi juice, 3 Bodhi seeds, and 1 Bodhi flower. Yu Haoran's interest in the Taoist-robed old man's proposal made the flower-robed old man very anxious. At the same time, he immediately took out his own bargaining chip. Elder Hua Pao, what grade is the Bodhi tree? If Yu Haoran was interested in the bargaining chip offered by the old man in the Taoist robe, then the bargaining chip mentioned by the old man in the flowery robe made him extremely excited. The Bodhi tree is not a tree, and the mirror is not a platform. Comprehension is always pure. Where is the dust? This was the highest evaluation given to the Bodhi tree by a peak godly state expert in ancient times. Comprehension is always pure, and where is the dust? It was the cultivation of the mind. However, since it was a spiritual tree, it was bound to be limited by its grade. Therefore, Yu Haoran needed to know the grades of the Bodhi leaves, Bodhi juice, Bodhi seeds, and Bodhi flowers that the old man was willing to give him. He needed to know if they could substantially increase his comprehension and cultivation of the mind. Level 2, Level 9. The old man looked at the old man in the Taoist robe proudly and replied arrogantly, I agree to the exchange. The treasures from the Level 2, Level 9 Bodhi spiritual tree were more or less able to increase the comprehension and cultivation of the mind of an almighty expert like Emperor Wu. Therefore, while Yu Haoran readily agreed to the old man's offer, he did not want to take advantage of the old man. Therefore, he gave his own conditions for compensation. Furthermore, I will also refine a Level 2, Level 1 mysterious dragon mind sculpting elixir for you. Really? The old man immediately asked excitedly. The mysterious dragon mind sculpting elixir was a top-notch elixir used to increase the bloodline of a poisonous exotic beast. A Level 2, Level 1 mysterious dragon mind sculpting elixir could allow the bloodline of the 7-colored heart sculpting snake to evolve once. At that time, not only would the 7-colored heart sculpting snake reach the level of a quasi-emperor, its poison would also be able to kill an almighty expert like Emperor Wu. This was also the reason why the old man was so excited. Of course. Yu Haoran smiled and reminded him as he nodded. However, I still need you to provide the 13 herbs needed to refine the mysterious dragon mind sculpting elixir. I understand. The old man in the flowery robe, who understood the rules of alchemy, quickly nodded in agreement. Holding the Emperor Yuan pill tightly in his hand, Yu Haoran looked at the old man in the flowery robe with a smile on his face. Oh, I understand now. Back at the auction held at Twin Bull Mountain, Yu Haoran had no choice but to destroy his own Emperor Yuan pill because he trusted Shang Jie too much. As a result, he owed them a huge amount of spirit veins. In the end, he had no choice but to repay them through alchemy. Therefore, he understood the meaning behind Yu Haoran's smile and quickly took out the Bodhi leaf, Bodhi juice, Bodhi seed, and Bodhi flower for the transaction. Elixir Emperor Yu, please wait a moment. Just as Yu Haoran was about to trade with the old man in the flowery robe, the purple-robed, middle-aged expert's anxious voice suddenly rang in his ears. Do you want to die? As a reclusive expert who traveled alone, there were very few people in the Tianxian continent who could make the old man in the flowery robe wary. Therefore, when he saw the purple-robed, middle-aged expert who had abruptly interrupted his trade, his eyes flickered with murderous intent as he threatened. Although the old man in the flowery robe was very powerful, and he was definitely no match for him, the purple-clothed middle-aged man was not afraid of the Hidden Dragon Fortress, which was protected by the Hidden Dragon Luck, even if he was a real martial emperor almighty expert. Moreover, he had secretly contacted the Hidden Dragon Providence on the list earlier, and it had already agreed to kill the old man in the flowery robe at any time. Therefore, when faced with the old man's blatant threat, the purple-robed, middle-aged expert only glanced at him indifferently before he spoke to Yu Haoran with a smile on his face. Chapter 1424. Hidden Dragon Ranking. In the arena, Yu Haoran wasn't too dissatisfied with the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert's abrupt interruption of his deal with the flower-robed old man. He was just a little puzzled by his participation in the competition for the Emperor Yuan pill. After all, with the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert's monstrous talent, coupled with the benefits of the Hidden Dragon Fortune and the second-rank, third-rank Supreme Realm Benefit Spirit pill, he could choose to break through the Emperor Wu realm independently. Moreover, the chance of successfully breaking through the Emperor Wu realm was no less than using the second-rank, third-rank Emperor Yuan pill. However, not only was he not related to the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert, but he also had some personal grudges with him. Therefore, even if he was puzzled, he didn't ask too much. He only indicated that the other party could raise his bargaining chips. 1,000-year snow lotus, 1,000-year purple lotus, 1,000-year golden lotus, 1,000-year red lotus, 1,000-year white jade lotus, 1,000-year ice crystal jade lotus, 1,000-year pure heart jade lotus, 1,000-year purple heart jade lotus, 1,000-year jade lotus. I wonder if these 9 types of 1,000-year lotus spiritual herbs are to your liking? Seeing that Yu Haoran was willing to give him a chance to compete, the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert immediately raised his bargaining chips with strong confidence. Hearing the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert's offer of 9 types of 1,000-year lotus spiritual herbs, Yu Haoran couldn't help but tremble slightly. His eyes revealed an extremely shocked expression. Sun Xichao, what kind of heaven-defying effects do the 9 types of spiritual herbs that Amethyst Elder just mentioned have? Elder Blue, who was still curious by Yu Haoran's shocked expression, immediately ordered Sun Xichao loudly. Sun Xichao, who was also puzzled, shook his head, indicating that he also didn't know what kind of heaven-defying elixir the 9 types of 1,000-year lotus spiritual herbs could be refined into. Just when the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert mentioned the 9 types of 1,000-year lotus spiritual herbs, a familiar feeling surged in Qian Yunjin's heart, causing her to fall into deep thought. After a short recollection, she finally knew why the 9 kinds of 1,000-year-old lotus herbs gave her a familiar feeling. The reason was that 30 years ago, when she accompanied the number 1 rogue cultivator in her family to explore the ruins of the Middle Ages, she obtained 3 pill recipes that she thought were impossible to refine. One of the pill notes recorded the use of 9 types of 1,000-year-old lotus spirit refinement to refine a pill that could improve one's mental state cultivation and soul at the same time. It was called the 9 Heart, 9 Soul, 9 Lotus Pill. 9 hearts referred to the state of mind, 9 souls referred to the divine soul, and 9 lotuses referred to the 9 medicinal pills. There were 3 reasons why she believed that the 9 Hearts, 9 Souls, 9 Lotus Pill could not be refined. First of all, the difficulty of refining pills. For an alchemist, it was very difficult to guarantee a 100% success rate every time they refined a pill, not to mention that the number of pills they refined in the end had to reach 9. Secondly, there was the requirement of alchemy realm. The 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill that was refined using 9,000-year-old lotus spirit herbs would reach the first rank of the second level. In the Tianxian continent, where no alchemist had advanced to the pill emperor realm for hundreds of thousands of years, no alchemist could refine a first rank of the second level of the pill. Lastly, there was the fusion of energy between the 9 pills during the refining process. Under normal circumstances, when an alchemist successfully concocted a pill, no matter if it was a single pill or 9 pills, each pill was an independent entity that could be consumed individually. However, the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill was different. This was because between the 9 pills of the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, not only was there a connection between the laws, the energy within the 9 pills must be continuously superimposed. For example, if a peerless expert who had just broken through to the martial honorable realm took the first 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, his mental state and soul would definitely advance to the first rank of the martial honorable realm within a day. After that, he must immediately take the second 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill. Within 2 days, his mental state and soul would also advance to the second rank of the martial honorable realm. After that, he must immediately take the third 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill. Within 4 days, his mental state and soul would also advance to the third rank of the martial honorable realm, and so on. Finally, in a little more than a year and a half, his mental state and soul would advance to the peak of the 9th rank of the martial honorable realm. Furthermore, using the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill to advance one's mental state and soul would not only not have any side effects, it would also increase the success rate of breaking through to the next rank of the Emperor Wu. It was also because she thought that there was no alchemist in the Tianxian continent who could refine the first rank 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill that she did not think of it when she heard the purple-clothed middle-aged man mention the 9,000-year lotus type spiritual herbs. Amethyst Elder, do you know what kind of heaven-defying pill the 9,000-year lotus type spiritual herbs can refine? Yu Haoran could not help but smile bitterly as he looked at the purple-clothed middle-aged man who was emitting a strong sense of confidence. The 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill. The purple-clothed middle-aged man replied with a smile. Amethyst Elder, then do you know the heaven-defying effects of the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill? Yu Haoran continued to ask with a bitter smile. Of course I do. The purple-clothed middle-aged man nodded his head and explained the special effects of the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill in detail. After hearing the purple-clothed middle-aged man's explanation of the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, not to mention the surrounding experts on the viewing platform, even the old man in the flowery robe and the other hidden experts below the stage were extremely shocked. After all, even for a peerless martial honorable with top talent, it would take at least 10 years to advance one's mental state and soul from the first rank to the 9th rank. However, using the first rank 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill would only take a little more than a year. Although hidden experts like the old man in the flowery robe no longer needed the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, they were looking for a disciple to inherit their legacy now or in the future. Hence, they would definitely want to use the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill to increase their disciples' cultivation. Moreover, the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill could increase the chances of breaking through the realm of Emperor Wu. Hence, after the initial shock, the old man in the flowery robe and the other hidden experts, as well as the surrounding spectators, all looked at Yu Haoran with intense anticipation in their eyes. Ignoring the anticipation in everyone's eyes, Yu Haoran nodded his head in agreement with the purple-clothed middle-aged expert's explanation. At the same time, he shrugged his shoulders and waved his hands. Amethyst Elder, do you think that Yu Howren can successfully refine such a unique pill like the first rank 9 Hearts 9 Soul 9 Lotus pill? Yu Howren's question stunned the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert for a moment. At the same time, the anticipation in everyone's eyes was immediately replaced by disappointment. Chapter 1425 Hidden Dragon Fortress. On the arena, Yu Howren's helpless question and his action of taking the initiative to remind the old man in the flowery robe made the purple-robed, middle-aged expert's original confident look immediately replaced by annoyance. That's right. Although Yu Howren was the first Elixir Emperor to advance to the Elixir Dao realm in hundreds of thousands of years in the Tianxin continent, the difficulty of refining the second stage, first grade, 9 Heart, 9 Soul, 9 Lotus Elixir was probably a very risky challenge for him. Using the second stage, third grade Emperor Yuan Elixir that could assist in the breakthrough of the Emperor Wu realm in exchange for a very risky challenge. As long as one was not crazy or too arrogant, no one would accept such a losing deal. Afraid that the purple-robed middle-aged expert would have some tricks up his sleeves, the old man in the flowery robe immediately sent the storage ring containing the Bodhi leaf, Bodhi juice, Bodhi seed, and Bodhi flower to Yu Howren, and finally successfully completed the transaction of the second stage, third grade Emperor Yuan Elixir. Looking at the various Bodhi treasures in the storage ring, Yu Howren's heart surged with a trace of surprise. He refused the purple-robed, middle-aged expert's deal not because he could not use the 9,000-year-old Lotus Elixirs to refine the second stage, first grade, 9 Heart, 9 Soul, 9 Lotus Elixir. It was mainly because the 4 Bodhi treasures that the old man in the flowery robe took out could allow him to refine an elixir that was more suitable for him than the 9 Heart, 9 Soul, 9 Lotus Elixir. Since the transaction of the Emperor Yuan Elixir had been completed, then it was time for him to fulfill his promise. Turning his head to look at the ancestor below the arena, Yu Howren wanted to refine the Ice Heart Jade Bone Elixir and the 3-Striped Spirit Clearing Elixir for him first. But suddenly the purple-robed, middle-aged expert's voice sounded in his ear. Elixir Emperor Yu, putting aside the transaction of the Emperor Yuan Elixir just now, if I ask you to refine the 9 Heart, 9 Soul, 9 Lotus Elixir, how confident are you that you can refine it successfully? What kind of price do you need to pay to refine it? After hearing the purple-robed, middle-aged expert's interrogation, Yu Howren thought for a moment, and then gave the other party an answer that made him fall into deep thought. At most 10%. If the final refining is successful, no matter how many elixirs are made, except for the 9 Heart, 9 Soul, 9 Lotus Elixir that I promised you, the rest of the elixirs will belong to me. If the refinement fails, you will have to pay the price of a 5th-level low-grade spiritual vein. In fact, with his current alchemy realm and alchemy ability, coupled with the void pill condensation technique that was about to advance, the success rate of refining the 9 Hearts, 9 Souls, 9 Lotus pill was as high as 30%. The reason why he lowered the success rate of refining pills was mainly because he did not want to waste a lot of time and energy to refine the 9 Hearts, 9 Souls, 9 Lotus pill, which was not very useful to him and his friends. Seeing that his reply made the other party fall into contemplation, Yu Howren didn't say anything more and asked Ancestor Yuan with a faint smile on his face. Senior, have you prepared the medicinal herbs required to refine the 3rd-tier, 1st-grade Ice Heart Jade Bone pill and the 3-Striped Spirit Clearing pill? I've already prepared it. Here you go. Quickly taking out 4 sets of medicinal materials for refining 2 kinds of elixirs, Yuan Zhu sent them to Yu Howren with a little excitement. After reaching out to take the storage ring sent by Yuan Zhu, Yu Howren nodded to Wu Jingjun and the Sword Without Trace, then returned to the position where he had just refined the Supreme Realm Benefit Spirit Pill and the Emperor Yuan Pill and sat down cross-legged. In the Medicine King Valley's Earth Source Pavilion, he had refined 2 4th-tier, 1st-grade Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill, and the entire refining process of the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill was still fresh in his memory. Therefore, Yu Howren decided to take the lead in refining the 3rd-tier 1st-grade Ice Heart Jade Bone pill that could assist the quasi-Emperor Wu in crossing the body tribulation. Second tier, first grade Emperor Essence Embryonic Pill. Second tier, third grade Exalt Realm Benefiting Spirit Pill. And second tier, third grade Emperor Essence Pill. Successfully refining 3 types of second tier, third grade medicinal pills in succession. Other than allowing his alchemy Tao to advance to the pill Emperor Realm, it also allowed him to be full of confidence when refining the third tier, first grade Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill. After condensing the independent space of the pill fire, refining, condensing, dividing, and nourishing, the entire refining process of the third tier, first grade Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill not only took less than 20 minutes, but the number of pills formed after successfully crossing the pill tribulation reached 9. Unfortunately, the power of the pill tribulation thunder punishment attracted by the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill was too weak, and the reward after crossing the pill tribulation was too little, so his own strength did not improve very significantly. Reaching out to call back the 9 Ice Heart Jade Bone Pills floating in the air, Yuhauran carefully examined them and found that although the 9 Ice Heart Jade Bone Pills were only third tier first grade, the pure energy contained inside the pills was not inferior to the third tier fifth grade Ice Heart Jade Bone Pills refined by other alchemists. Using Yuan Qi to wrap the 2 Ice Heart Jade Bone Pills that he had promised Yuan Zhu, he also kept 2 pills that he could give to his father-in-law, Emperor Qin, and Master Feng Qingyun in the future, and then looked down at the remaining 4 pills in his hand. Pill Emperor Yu, can Huizhan exchange a third tier, first grade Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill from you? Looking at the remaining 4 pills in Yu Haoran's hand, Qin Yunjin hurriedly asked in advance before the others on the scene could say anything. Asking for a third tier first grade Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill was only because she wanted to improve her understanding and level of the art of alchemy through studying the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill, except for powerful beings like the future Emperor Wu of the Qian family, who could use it. Of course, after a short consideration, Yu Haoran decided to sell the remaining 4 Ice Heart Jade Bone Pills on the spot, in order to arouse the greed of some people and bring unnecessary troubles. Therefore, facing Qin Yunjin's request, Yu Haoran straightforwardly agreed. Pill Emperor Yu, can you take a look at these things and see if they can meet the conditions of the deal? Quickly taking out a storage bag and handing it to Yu Haoran, Qin Yunjin showed a bit of nervousness and asked, a third tier first grade purple leaf grass, 3 third tier first grade ink leaf lotuses, 9 third tier first grade life bone flowers, and 18 third tier first grade spirit gathering fruits. Looking at the quantity and quality of the magic medicines in the storage bag, Yu Haoran's first reaction was to refuse. Except for the third tier first grade purple leaf grass and the third tier 9th grade ink leaf lotuses, which could barely catch his attention, the rest of the life bone flowers and spirit gathering fruits were completely useless to him. However, seeing the slightly nervous look on Qin Yunjin's face, and the fact that she, a peak-level Grandmaster of Alchemy and a peak-level 7th grade Martial Revered Master, was still using a storage bag that only ordinary warriors could use, Qin Yunjin's heart softened a little. Thinking that it was because of her that he was able to concoct Emperor Essence Pills and Emperor Essence Pills without any worries, Yu Haoran finally softened his heart and nodded in agreement. Okay. Wrapping 1 Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill with his power, Yu Haoran sent it to Qin Yunjin, then raised his head and looked at those future Emperor Wu and ordinary Martial Revered Masters who were standing on the stands and said with a smile. Chapter 1426. In the Arena of the Hidden Dragon Fortress. Pill Emperor Yu, can I exchange a second stage first grade Clear Heart Clover, a second stage second grade Eye Spirit Leaf, a second stage third grade 3 Flower, and a second stage 4th grade Profound Ice Flower for an Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill? After Yu Haoran stated the conditions for exchanging the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill, Sun Xichao, who had the same idea as Qin Yunjin, immediately took out his bargaining chip. Yes, Sun Xichao's elixirs were much better than Qian Huijin's, so Yu Haoran didn't hesitate to nod and agree. In less than a minute, Qin Yunjin and Sun Xichao took 2 out of the 4 level 3 first level 2 elixirs. This made the almighty experts, who were eager to get the Ice Heart Jade Pill, anxious. Elixir Emperor Yu, can I exchange an Ice Heart Jade Pill with a level 2 third level Ean God Flower and a level 2 fifth level Soaring Spirit Flower for a level 3 first level 2 Ice Heart Jade Pill? A Tribulation 1 Almighty Expert, who was about to Emperor Wu, used his powerful momentum to attract the attention of the audience. He immediately gave Yu Haoran an offer that he couldn't refuse. Of course, seeing the only remaining icy heart jade bone pellet in Yu Haoran's hand, the dozen or so quasi-martial emperors present immediately became nervous. However, just as they were about to participate in the competition, a terrifying aura suddenly rose from below the stage. If the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert's momentum was like heaven's power, then the momentum that emerged from under the arena was heaven's power. Facing such a powerful momentum, even the almighty experts, who were about to Emperor Wu, felt heavy pressure, let alone the top revered martial artists. The old man in the Taoist robe, who was emitting a terrifying momentum, had a cold and contemptuous look in his eyes. Everyone was so frightened that they didn't dare to speak. However, when the old man's cold and disdainful gaze returned to Yu Haoran, who was on the stage, it immediately turned into a warm smile that was overflowing with spring. A stalk of second-tier, 9th-grade green flame grass. I wonder if you're satisfied? Yu Haoran was put in a difficult position when faced with the bargaining chip that the old man in Taoist robes gave him. It wasn't because the old man in the Taoist robe had offered too little, but because he had offered too much. Tier 2 Grade 9 Azure Flame Grass. Although it was not as precious as the Tier 2 Grade 9 Purple Gold Dragon Ginseng, it was still able to be used as the main ingredient to refine the Tier 2 Grade 1 Vast Spirit Pill. The Tier 2 First Grade Vast Spirit Pill was a kind of top medicinal pill that could raise the realm of Wu Zun and Emperor Wu. In terms of value, it far surpassed the Tier 3 First Grade Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill. In the face of Yu Haoran's difficult expression, the Taoist-robed old man was not the slightest bit nervous as he smiled and suggested, "Little friend, this is the second time we've come into contact. With regards to your character of not being willing to take advantage of others, I can be considered to have some understanding. If you feel that the price of the Tier 2 Grade 9 Green Flame Grass is too high, then how about an Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill and a 3-mark Green Spirit Pill as the exchange conditions? Since that's the case, then this junior will accept deferentially. Although the price of the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill and the 3-mark Green Spirit Pill was still not as high as the Tier 9 Grade 9 Green Flame Grass, the value between them was already not too different. Moreover, considering that the number of alchemists who could refine these two medicinal pills at the same time was very small, the intangible value of alchemists was enough to make up for the slight gap between the two. Yu Haoran finally nodded in agreement. Seeing that the last Tier 3 Grade 1 Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill was obtained by the Taoist-robed old man, the almighty powerhouses of the quasi-Emperor Wu realm of the scene felt deeply regretful, but they also immediately made preparations to compete for the Tier 3 Grade 1 3-mark Green Spirit Pill. After putting away the jade box containing the azure flame grass that the Taoist-robed old man sent, Yu Haoran took a deep breath and continued to use the nihility pill condensation technique to condense the independent space of the pill fire. The Tier 3 Grade 1 3-mark Green Spirit Pill was the top medicinal pill to assist the quasi-Emperor Wu almighty powerhouses in crossing the soul power. Although he had never refined the 3-mark Green Spirit Pill of any grade in his previous life and this life, his powerful alchemy cultivation allowed him to refine it calmly without the slightest worry. Refining, condensing, dividing, and nourishing. The whole refining process was like the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill. It only took more than 20 minutes to successfully refine, and the final 9 pills were produced. According to the previous agreement and practice, 2 3-mark Green Spirit Pills were given to the ancestor, 2 were left for his father-in-law Emperor Qin and his master Feng Qingyun. 1 was given to the Taoist-robed old man who exchanged in advance, and the remaining 3 were to be sold. After the fierce competition of more than a dozen quasi-Emperor Wu realm almighty powerhouses of the scene, The final price was more than 4 Ice Heart Jade Bone pills by nearly 10 times. After putting away the last 3-mark green spirit pill that was exchanged for a few top spiritual herbs, Yu Haoran looked at the flower-robed old man. Senior flower-robed old man, do you want to refine the Tier 2 Grade 1 Mysterious Dragon Heart Sculpting Pill or the Tier 2 Grade 1 Raging Flame Soul Burning Pill? The Raging Flame Soul Burning Pill was a top poisonous pill that targeted the divine soul. Although the toxicity contained in the pill could not be listed in the 100 poisons list for the flower-robed old man who practiced poison skills, the real value was no less than the 8 turns Dragon Emperor pill that he promised to refine for Xinghai Elder. Let's refine the Tier 2 Grade 1 Raging Flame Soul Burning Pill first. While taking out the medicinal herbs that had been prepared in advance, the flower-robed old man explained. As for the Mysterious Dragon Heart Sculpting Pill, after I collect enough medicinal herbs, I will trouble you to find time to refine it. Okay. Yu Haoran nodded in agreement. At the same time, he reached out and took the medicinal herbs from the flower-robed old man. Then, he closed his eyes and carefully recalled the prescription of the Raging Flame Soul Burning Pill, as well as the things to pay attention to in the refining process. After confirming that the whole refining process was correct, Yu Haoran's 10 fingers quickly formed the mark of condensing the independent space of the pill fire. Although the Raging Flame Soul Burning Pill's grade was very high, the refining process was not complicated. The only troublesome thing was to ensure the perfect fusion of the poison contained in the medicinal herbs during the refining and condensing process. And this was not a problem at all for Yu Haoran, who was proficient in the poison Dao. After easily refining 19 types of medicinal herbs that contained highly toxic poison, successfully fusing the poison, and successfully condensing it into a pill, the refining of the Raging Flame Soul Burning Pill was basically close to success. Therefore, Yu Haoran divided half of his energy to pay attention to the nourishment of the 9 pills, and half of his energy to simulate the refining process of the 9 Hearts, 9 Souls, 9 Lotus pill in his mind. Because after ending the transaction of the 3-marked green spirit pill, Yu Haoran noticed that the hesitation in the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert's eyes was replaced by determination. He knew that he would definitely agree to the conditions that he had just proposed. Chapter 1427. Hidden Dragon Fortress on the Arena. Since the Rank 2 Grade 1 Raging Flame Soul Burning Pill was only a medicinal pill to improve the poison path cultivation base, there was no need to go through the baptism of the pill tribulation thunder punishment. So after the incubation process, after dividing the pills, 9 pills were successfully formed. Considering that his 2 disciples were also monstrous geniuses who specialized in poison path like the old man in a flower robe, he only kept 2 Raging Flame Soul Burning pills, and the remaining 7 were all given to the old man in a flower robe. This also made the excited old man in a flower robe take the initiative to give away a Rank 2 Grade 6 geocentric mushroom. In the following period of time, he refined the 9 kinds of Rank 2 Grade 1 medicinal pills that he had promised to the old man in a Taoist robe and the other 8 people. Seeing the skinny old man happily accept the 3 Rank 2 Grade 1 White Jade Crimson Yang pills, Yu Haoran breathed a sigh of relief and hurriedly took out a few medicinal pills to consume. Since his rebirth, he had only experienced such a large-scale alchemy twice. The first time was in the independent space formed by the white mist formed by the sky, trapping rope. Under the boredom, he refined pills for 3 days and 3 nights without rest and sleep. In total, he refined nearly 73 kinds of Rank 5 to Rank 3 medicinal pills. The second time was now. Although this time the alchemy time was not as long as the first time, most of the Rank 2 top medicinal pills also consumed his spirit power, soul power, and mind power. Therefore, he must use the top medicinal pills to help himself return to the peak state, and then start to refine several more shocking medicinal pills. Little friend, I'm very sorry, I was delayed by some special things. Just when Yu Haoran quickly recovered with the help of the top medicinal pills, Xinghai Old Man, who went out to look for the 8 kinds of medicinal materials to refine the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill, returned in time and apologized repeatedly. Senior Xinghai here. Without opening his eyes to respond to Xinghai Old Man's apology, a stream of spirit power wrapped the pill bottle placed in front of him and sent it to Xinghai Old Man. The pill bottle contained 3 rank 2 grade 1 Xingyuan congealing spirit pills that he had refined in advance. Little friend, I can't thank you enough for your great kindness. If you have any errands in the future, just say the word. After opening the pill bottle and taking a look, Xinghai Elder excitedly gave a promise immediately. Senior, please wait for a moment. After Junior's condition returns to its peak, I will open the furnace and refine the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill for you. Ignoring the promise given by Old Man Xinghai, Yu Haoran reminded with his eyes closed. There's no need to rush. Just focus on recovering. He hurriedly waved his hand to indicate that he could wait. Then, Elder Xinghai walked to the side of the flower-robed old man and began to quietly inquire about what had happened in the hidden dragon fortress while he was away. The medicinal pills used to restore his condition were of the 9th grade of the 3rd step, so it only took him less than 2 hours to return to his peak condition. After opening his eyes, Yu Haoran reminded Old Man Xinghai with a solemn expression. Senior Xinghai, because the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill is a top-tier 2 medicinal pill passed down from the Middle Ages, not only is the refining process very complicated, but the final success rate and pill formation rate are very low. So, according to the rules of alchemy, if the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill is successfully refined in the end, no matter how many pills are formed in the end, you can only get 1 medicinal pill, and the rest of the medicinal pills belong to me. No problem. For Xinghai Elder, who is a loner, he only needs 1 rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill to assist in the breakthrough of Emperor Wu's physical body grade. Therefore, in the face of Yu Haoran's request, he happily nodded and agreed. After getting Xinghai Elder's consent, Yu Haoran stretched out his hand and motioned for him to take out the 8 medicinal herbs for refining the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill. From the storage ring handed over by Xinghai Elder, he placed the 8 medicinal herbs containing the aura of the divine dragon in front of him one by one, and then took out the rank 2 grade 9 purple gold dragon ginseng as the main ingredient from the victor. Yu Haoran was not in a hurry to condense the independent space of alchemy fire. Instead, he used alchemy techniques to carefully experience and feel the characteristics of each medicinal herb. After fully understanding the characteristics of the 9 medicinal herbs, Yu Haoran took a deep breath and then began to quickly condense the independent space of alchemy fire with his 10 fingers. Yu Haoran's action of carefully examining and feeling the characteristics of each medicinal herb just now made Qian Huijin in the arena and Sun Siqiao in the stand show a thoughtful look in their eyes. Although the effect of the Dragon Emperor pill was far inferior to the rank 9 golden pill that Laozi was famous for, as a top elixir that could help one to break through the level of Emperor Wu's body, the refining process of refining, condensing, dividing, and nourishing was not inferior to the refining of the Emperor Vitality pill. Therefore, after the first rank 2 grade 1 dragon bloodgrass was thrown into the independent space of alchemy fire, Yu Haoran concentrated on the refining process. Just as Yu Haoran was concentrating on refining the medicinal herbs, the purple-clothed middle-aged man and other top martial venerables, as well as the old man in the flowery robe and other reclusive 3 tribulations Emperor Wu, directly left the hidden dragon fortress, which made the atmosphere suddenly tense. The refining process of the 9 medicinal herbs was perfect. The process of condensing the spiritual liquid and forming the elixir was perfect. The division of the elixir produced 9 elixirs the size of a longan. Perfect. The most important process of refining, condensing, and dividing the elixir was perfect, which made Yu Haoran's tense nerves somewhat relax. Then, he slowly breathed a sigh of relief. While continuing to use the elixir to recover the consumption just now, he stared at the 9 elixirs that began to use the traction force to gather the aura of the divine dragon. Woo! Ow! Just as the traction force formed by the 9 elixirs in the independent space of alchemy fire expanded more than 1,000 miles, the roars of the strange beasts began to ring outside the hidden dragon fortress. After hearing the roars of the strange beasts from the hidden dragon fortress, Yu Haoran immediately ordered Xinghai Elder, Senior Xinghai, let all the strange beasts with the bloodline of the divine dragon enter the hidden dragon fortress and kill them outside the arena. Yes. Without the slightest hesitation, Xinghai Elder immediately took out a round celestial device and looked solemnly at the strange beast that had rushed into the hidden dragon fortress. Senior Tung, Senior Brother Yunjie, Ling Fei, Sister, Junior Sister Jiang, you go and help Senior Xinghai Elder kill the strange beasts that are rushing into the arena. Yu Haoran ordered Ancestor Yuan and others under the arena, while Xinghai Elder was waiting. Without any hesitation, Ancestor Yuan immediately took out a long spear celestial device of the lower emperor grade and guarded the east side of the arena. Tung Yunjie and Yusiki jointly guarded the west side of the arena, while Qin Lingfei and Kong Yunga guarded the south side of the arena. You go to the south side of the arena. Seeing that Yu Haoran did not order her to intercept the strange beasts that were rushing over, Qian Huijin's eyes flashed with disappointment. Subsequently, she flashed and appeared beside Tung Yunjie and Yusiki as she instructed softly. Thank you, Senior. On the 4 sides of the arena, the impact of the strange beasts was the strongest on the north side, followed by the east side, then the west side, and finally the south side. Chapter 1428. In the arena of the hidden dragon fortress. Gently shaking her head, Qian Huijin signaled Tung Yunjie and Yusiki not to be polite. Then, she turned her head and ordered Qian Yuanjin, who was watching on the side. Yuanjin, you also go and guard the south side of the arena. Yes, Aunt. Qian Yuanjin, who took out his natal sword, immediately appeared on the south side of the arena. Then, he looked at the dozens of exotic beasts that were approaching the arena with a solemn expression. Withdrawing his gaze from Qian Huijin, Yu Haoran turned to Wu Jingjun and Jian Wujian and reminded them, Jingjun, Wuhan, stop any strange beasts that want to approach me or the Pill Fire's independent space at all costs. Senior Brother, don't worry. Nodding his head heavily, Wu Zhangjun took out his blood devourer and stood on the left side of Yu Haoran. Haoran, trust me. Nodding his head slightly, the sword without trace took out his sword array and stood on the right side of Yu Haoran. Everything had been arranged. Whether they could successfully refine the rank 8 Dragon King elixir depended on the strength of the people present and their own efforts. Kill! With a violent roar, Elder Xinghai took the lead and rushed to the first batch of 7 exotic beasts of the Saint Realm and the Venerable Realm. Kill! Only 5 seconds later, Ancestor Yuan also roared and rushed to the second batch of 13 exotic beasts of the Emperor Realm and the Saint Realm. Kill! 3 seconds later, Qian Huijin, who had taken out a supreme grade venerable stage pill cauldron, shouted softly. A sea of fire immediately rushed out of the cauldron and burned the 9-headed monarch stage and saint stage exotic beasts into ashes. Kill! Tung Yunjie, Qin Lingfei, and the others shouted softly and then used their natal magic weapons to block the incoming exotic beasts. As the traction force formed by the 9 pills in the independent space of the pill fire became stronger and wider, the aura contained in the pills attracted more and more exotic beasts. Gradually, some exotic beasts that comprehended the law of speed and the law of speed escaped the interception of Xinghai and the others and successfully rushed to the arena. Fortunately, Wu Jingjun and the sword without trace blocked in time, so that the exotic beasts that rushed to the arena did not disturb Yu Haoran, who was casting the imprint. He cast a total of 36 unique imprints of the void pill condensation technique, and then integrated them into the 9 pills in the independent space of the pill fire. Immediately, the powerful traction force formed by the 9 pills not only gathered the divine dragon aura between heaven and earth, but also began to absorb the blood of the exotic beasts that had just been killed under the arena. When the traction force formed by the pills successfully absorbed the blood of the exotic beasts, Howard finally heaved a sigh of relief. After that, he raised his head and glanced at Xinghai and the others who were trying their best to kill the exotic beasts. He then glanced at Wu Jingjun and the sword without trace who were in a frenzy in the arena. Finally, he looked at the experts who were watching the battle in the spectator stands, and his face instantly turned gloomy. He took the initiative to let those exotic beasts enter the hidden dragon fortress, and then killed them all under the arena. The intention of his arrangement just now was very obvious. Refining the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir required the divine dragon blood essence contained in the exotic beast blood. Now, because there were too few people to kill the exotic beasts, more and more exotic beasts rushed to the arena, which had seriously affected and threatened his pill refining. Those top martial venerables and almighty experts who were about to become Emperor Wu in the spectator stands not only wanted the pills that he had refined, but were also unwilling to kill the exotic beasts to win his favor. Instead, they were watching the battle, which made Howard feel endless anger in his heart. "Senior brother, be careful." Wu Zhangjun had already overdrawn 1/3 of his spiritual power and soul power. However, there were too many strange beasts that had rushed onto the stage. Therefore, Wu Zhangjun didn't have enough time to stop all the strange beasts. In the end, 2 beasts at the peak of the 9th level Sage Realm had rushed towards Howard. "Zhangjun, you don't need to continue to protect my safety. Now, use your full strength to kill the exotic beasts rushing to the arena." Howard instructed Wu Jingjun after he had blasted the 2 9th grade Sage Realm exotic beasts into a bloody mist with an ordinary basic fist technique. Yes, senior brother. Since he didn't need to continue to protect his senior brother, he didn't need to divert his attention too much. Wu Zhangjun responded to Howard's instructions, and a layer of thick bloody mist immediately emerged from his body. Then he began to kill all the exotic beasts in front of him. Howard saw that more and more exotic beasts were breaking through Wu Jingjun and the sword without trace's defensive line. Just as he was about to stand up and stop them, a whistling sound suddenly rang out in his ears. Following this whistling sound, countless purple figures instantly appeared on the arena. Moreover, all the exotic beasts on the arena were eliminated in the blink of an eye. "Amethyst Elder, I'll have to trouble you to kill all the exotic beasts in the southern region of the arena." Howard's face lit up when he saw the purple-clothed middle-aged man appear in time. "Pill Emperor, please don't worry. Leave everything to me." The purple-clothed middle-aged man nodded at Howard. Then, he instructed the 5 venerables who had rushed over. "Red Elder, Blue Elder, Qing Elder, Green Elder, the 4 of you are in charge of killing all the flying exotic beasts. White Elder is in charge of assisting in killing the exotic beasts in the southern region of the arena." "Yes, Amethyst Elder." After the 5 venerables acknowledged the order, they immediately rushed to their respective battlefields. With the help of the purple-clothed middle-aged man and the 6 top-notch martial venerables, the danger of the exotic beasts attacking with all their might was finally resolved. After secretly dispersing the Yuan Li and soul power that he had just mobilized, Howard raised his head and looked at the 9 elixirs in the independent space. After absorbing a large amount of divine dragon blood essence from the exotic beast blood, the originally sparkling and translucent elixirs gradually turned into a light red color. Furthermore, he could faintly hear waves of dragon roars coming from the elixirs. He couldn't help but feel a burst of joy. Although the process of refining, condensing, and dividing the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir was complicated, as long as one's alchemy skills were strong enough and the method of refining the elixir was cautious enough, there wouldn't be too big of a problem. The only exception was the process of nourishing the elixir after dividing the elixir. Due to the difficult cultivation environment and the suppression of the heavenly Tao, the entire profound sky continent hadn't seen the birth of a divine dragon in the divine realm for close to 10 million years. This caused the divine dragon aura in the heavens and earth to be too scarce. It was impossible to refine the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir with just the traction force formed by the 9 elixirs to gather the divine dragon aura. Therefore, in the elixir recipe that Lao Tzu had passed down, the rank 2 rank 8 Dragon Soul Fruit that replaced the original auxiliary herbs was used to attract the exotic beasts that contained the divine dragon's bloodline. With the addition of the purple-clothed middle-aged man and the other 5 top-notch martial venerables, the number and speed of the exotic beasts' deaths greatly increased. This also caused the 9 elixirs that were absorbing the exotic beast's blood to become darker and darker. When the Hua Pao and the other hidden experts who had left the hidden dragon fortress for unknown reasons returned and immediately joined in the killing of the exotic beasts, the 9 elixirs that were absorbing more and more exotic beast blood gradually turned a deep red color. Chapter 1429. In the arena of the hidden dragon fortress, Yu Haoran raised his head to look at the 9 elixirs floating in the independent space of the elixir fire. The color of the elixirs changed from dark red to pure white, and a purple-gold giant dragon with 8 claws vaguely appeared inside the elixirs. Yu Haoran was pleasantly surprised and immediately sealed the aura of the dragon soul fruit with his 10 fingers. Losing the attraction of the unique aura of the dragon soul fruit and the deterrence of the aura of more than 10 masters in the hidden dragon fortress, countless strange beasts woke up and began to desperately escape from the hidden dragon fortress. Senior, Zhengjun, don't chase them. Seeing the old man in a flowery robe and Wu Xingjun intending to rush out, Yu Haoran hurriedly reminded them. Turning his head to look at Qin Lingfei, Xinghai, and the others, he found that except for the middle-aged master in purple who joined the battle later and the old man in a flowery robe who were not injured, the rest of the people were more or less injured. Especially Kong Yung-ah, who was the weakest in terms of cultivation and strength. Not only had her internal organs been forcibly displaced, but also her soul and her sea of consciousness had been injured to a certain extent. With a wave of his sleeve, 11 level 3 7 treasures resurrection elixirs appeared in front of Qin Lingfei, Xinghai, and the others. Quickly use the level 3 7 treasures resurrection elixirs to heal your wounds. Yu Haoran urged in a gentle tone. Qin Lingfei and the others who were closest to him took the elixirs without hesitation, and then bent their knees and floated in the blood river to heal their wounds. Ancestor Yuan and Tung Yunjie thought for a while, and then took the elixirs to heal their wounds. Only Xinghai Elder, Qian Huijin, and Qian Yuanjin did not take the 7 treasures resurrection elixirs immediately. Instead, they carefully put the 7 treasures resurrection elixirs into the elixir bottles, and then took out ordinary elixirs to heal their wounds. After all, the level 3 7 treasures resurrection elixir was one of the top 3 healing elixirs in the Tianxian continent, and the difficulty of refining it was no less than that of the level 3 9 treasures resurrection elixir. In the entire Tianxian continent, except for Yu Haoran, who was in the realm of Elixir Emperor, no alchemist could refine it. Therefore, in a situation where there was no danger, leaving behind the 7 treasures soul returning pill that could be used to save one's life was the instinctive reaction of every cultivator. Seeing that Yu Haoran's pills were all 7 treasures resurrection pills, one of the 3 divine healing pills, even the purple-clothed middle-aged man and the elder in the flowery robe were looking at Star Sea Elder, Qian Huijin, and Qian Yuanjin with envy, not to mention the numerous masters on the grandstand. Even the flower-robed old man felt a trace of regret. He regretted not deliberately getting hurt earlier. In this case, he could also obtain a 3rd step 9th grade 7 treasures soul returning pill to heal his injuries. Yu Haoran, who had returned his gaze to the independent space of the pill fire, inadvertently saw the envy on the faces of the purple-robed middle-aged expert, the flower-robed man, and the others. He could not help but chuckle. Then, with a wave of his sleeve, he gave out 17 3rd stage 9th grade 7 treasures resurrection pills. Thank you, Pill Emperor Yu. The purple-clothed middle-aged expert quickly reached out to take the 7 treasures resurrection pills. He immediately cupped his hands and thanked Yu Haoran excitedly. "Young friend, thank you." The flower-robed old man, who had also received the 7 Treasures Life Soul Returning Pill, also quickly thanked him. In response, Yu Haoran only shook his head with a chuckle and did not say anything. Previously, when he was trapped in the white foggy space formed by the sky-trapping rope, in order to improve his alchemy cultivation and to pass the time, he had refined most of the herbs he had obtained into pills. Among them, the third step 9th grade 7 Treasures Resurrection Pill, which was one of the divine healing pills, had been refined a total of 9 times. In the end, 79 pills had been produced. Moreover, as his alchemy advanced to the Pill Emperor realm, the pill condensation technique of nothingness was about to advance to the 2nd level. Next, he had the ability to refine 8 Treasures Resurrection Pills of higher grades and stronger healing effects. Therefore, he did not feel the pinch at all for giving out more than 27 Treasures Resurrection Pills just now. Yu Haoran's generous act of giving out pills just now also made countless experts at the scene ponder and surprise in their eyes. His gaze returned to the 9 pills in the independent space of the alchemy fire. After the color of the pills changed, the 9 pills in the independent space of the alchemy fire had turned back to crystal clear and pure white. At the same time, the 8-clawed purple gold dragons in the pills had not only completely taken shape, but also started to swim in the space of the pills. They were no different from real 8-clawed purple gold dragons. The appearance of the purple gold dragons meant that the Pill Emperor was formed. This was the sign that the Dragon Emperor Pill had been formed. Therefore, when he saw the 8-clawed purple gold dragons in the pills come alive, Yu Haoran heaved a sigh of relief and hurriedly got up to remove the alchemy fire's independent space. Roar! The moment the alchemy fire's independent space was removed, 9 deafening dragon roars sounded from within the 9 pills. Following the roars, the 9 pills turned into 9 8-clawed purple gold dragons that were 1,000 meters long. The 9 8-clawed purple gold dragons played in the air for a while, then turned their heads and swung their huge dragon tails toward Yu Haoran. Seeing the 9 8-clawed purple gold dragons rushing over, Yu Haoran immediately took out 8 empty pill bottles. Then, using the method of wrapping his elemental energy, he aimed the openings of the bottles at the 8 8-clawed purple gold dragons. Just when the 8 8-clawed purple gold dragons were less than 100 meters away from the openings of the bottles, their bodies suddenly began to shrink rapidly. Finally, they turned into pills the size of a longan and fell into the pill bottles. After reaching out his left hand to catch the only pill that was not put into the pill bottle, Yu Haoran began to examine it carefully. Just 3 seconds later, he swallowed the elixir directly. Then, he sat down cross-legged and began to use the special medicinal efficacy of the elixir to further sense the powerful effects of the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir that Laozi created. Yu Haoran's action of taking the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill immediately made countless experts at the scene nervous. Especially for Xinghai Lao, he clenched his fists and his breathing gradually became heavier. In order to get the 8 supplementary herbs needed to refine the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill, he had paid an extremely high price. If the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill had the powerful effect of assisting Emperor Wu in breaking through the grade of his physical body, then all his efforts would be worth it. If the effect of the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill was not as powerful as Yu Haoran said, then he would probably be trapped in a life of running for his life for a long time in the future. 3 minutes later, Yu Haoran, who slowly opened his eyes, revealed an uncontrollable ecstasy in his eyes. Little friend, how is the effect? Although he knew that Yu Haoran would definitely introduce the effect of the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill, the influence of nervousness still made Xinghai Lao unable to help but ask. Strong, very strong, very strong. Chapter 1430. Hidden Dragon Fortress. On the arena, under normal circumstances, the elixir that could directly improve cultivation must be compatible with the realm of the martial artist. If one used the elixir beyond the realm, not only would it waste the pure energy contained in the elixir, but it might also cause the body to explode and die because it could not withstand the huge medicinal power of the elixir in an instant. But the Dragon Emperor elixir broke this rule abruptly. It was suitable for martial artists of every realm, even if it was just a martial disciple who had just opened up his dantian. Of course, using it did not mean that it could be directly used. Take the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir that Yu Haoran had just swallowed as an example. The rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir was an elixir that assisted the peak of the 9th grade Martial Venerable and the 3 Tribulations Quasi, Emperor Wu, to directly break through the physical body grade. With his peak 3rd grade Martial Venerable physical body grade, he could not withstand the terrifying energy of the elixir in an instant. But the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir that entered his body did not directly explode, but directly integrated into his dantian, and then exuded a faint medicinal power, which began to subtly improve the physical body grade with the yuan energy in his dantian. Only when the physical body grade was promoted to the peak of the 9th grade Martial Venerable, or reached the realm of the 3 Tribulations Quasi, Emperor Wu, the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir in his dantian, would really erupt with all its medicinal power. After hearing Yu Haoran's introduction of the strange effects of the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir, not to mention the peak Martial Venerable peerless experts and the quasi Emperor Wu mighty experts, even the ordinary martial artists present stared at Yu Haoran with scorching eyes. Ignoring the scorching gaze of everyone present, Yu Haoran used the yuan energy to wrap the first elixir bottle containing the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir to Xinghai Elder. After reaching out to take the elixir bottle, Xinghai Elder clenched the elixir bottle and nodded to Yu Haoran. Although Xinghai Elder did not say anything, Yu Haoran could tell from his unswerving eyes that he would abide by the promise when he obtained the rank 2 grade 1-star source congealing spirit pill. Using the yuan energy to wrap the second elixir bottle containing the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir to Ancestor Yuan, and then said with a chuckle, "Senior Tongue, this rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir is for you. Prince Consort, this." Facing the pill bottle that Yu Haoran sent in front of him, Ancestor Yuan's eyes immediately showed a look of struggle. With the help of the 7 Lives Profound Gate pill, refined by Haoran, he had already successfully passed through the heart tribulation of the 3 tribulations of the quasi-martial emperor. The 3rd grade, 1st grade Ice Heart J-Bone pill and the 3-striped green spirit pill that he had just obtained could also help him pass through the body and soul tribulations of the 3 tribulations in a short period of time. He could truly become the most powerful 3rd grade quasi-martial emperor expert in the Tianxin continent. 3 Tribulations Quasi-Emperor Emperor Wu could use the 8 Revolutions Dragon Emperor pill to break through the realm of Emperor Wu's physical body. Therefore, Yuan Zhu had an instinctive desire for the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill. However, his strong mental state cultivation made him even more aware that he absolutely could not accept the 8 Revolution Emperor Yuan elixir. Because of the peculiar effect of the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir, its real value was no less than the level 2 grade Emperor Yuan elixir. For such a precious elixir, he did not take out the best treasure to exchange for it, and Yu Haoran did not owe him any favors. Therefore, he could not follow his inner impulse to accept the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir. "Senior, you and I have known each other for a long time. You must know very well what kind of person I, Yu Haoran, am." Seeing the struggling look in Yuan Zhu's eyes, Yu Haoran reminded him with a smile. "Therefore, there are some things that I don't want to say anymore. There are some things that you can do as you see fit. Prince Consort, the Heavenly Martial Sect, and the Tung family will always be your most trustworthy friends." Yu Haoran's kind reminder, which contained a hint of threat, made the struggling look in Yuan Zhu's eyes finally replaced by determination. When he reached out to take the elixir bottle floating in front of him, he also gave his promise. In this regard, Yu Haoran just smiled and did not give any response, because in his heart The only friends who were truly trustworthy and whom he could trust with his back were Wu Jingjun and Lu Yuan, who were more like brothers than brothers. Therefore, he did not take Ancestor Yuan's promise to heart at all. His Yuan Shi wrapped the third elixir bottle containing the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir and sent it directly to the middle-aged expert in purple. What the middle-aged expert in purple never expected was that Yu Haoran would give him such a heaven-defying elixir, which made him a little puzzled for a while. Amethyst Elder. In the face of hundreds of powerful exotic beasts that rushed into the arena, if you and the 5 venerables had not helped in time, Jingjun and Wuhan would not have been able to resist them. I would not have had the chance to successfully refine 9 rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixirs. Yu Haoran explained with a solemn expression when he saw the purple-clothed middle-aged expert in a daze. Therefore, this rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir is a gift from me to thank you for your timely help. After hearing Yu Haoran's explanation, the eyes of the top peerless experts and Emperor Wu almighty experts at the top of the spectator stands immediately revealed an extremely vexed and regretful look. If they had known that Yu Haoran would give them the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir for their help during the crisis, they would not have sat there and commented, "Elixir Emperor Yu, I, Amethyst Elder, will remember this kindness." After nodding and receiving the elixir bottle, the middle-aged expert in purple clenched the elixir bottle tightly and promised, "Amethyst Elder, you are too polite." Yu Haoran said politely and turned to look at Emperor Qin on the south side of the spectator stand. A bottle containing the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir was wrapped in Yuan Qi and sent to him. Yu Haoran smiled and said, "Father, take the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir directly. In 3 years at least, and 5 years at most, your physical body grade will definitely be promoted to Emperor Wu's realm." Compare with the hesitation of Yuan Zhu and the middle-aged expert in purple. Emperor Qin not only reached out to take the elixir bottle very happily, but also directly swallowed the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir into his body after opening the elixir bottle. This made countless experts in the spectator stand swallow a mouthful of saliva. After Emperor Qin swallowed the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir, Yu Haoran, who turned around, directly sent the remaining 5 elixir bottles containing the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir to Qin Lingfei, the sword without trace, Wu Zhengjun, Yu Siki, and Kong Yunga respectively. There was no need for Yu Haoran to take the initiative to remind them. Qin Lingfei and the other 4 immediately swallowed the rank 8 Dragon Emperor elixir in the elixir bottle. After sitting cross-legged, they began to experience the strange effects of the elixir. Envy. Seeing Yu Haoran give away all 8 rank 8 Dragon Emperor pills, which could help one break through to martial Emperor's physical body, in a short 2 minutes without any hesitation, Xiao Qian's eyes widened. Everyone at the scene looked at Qin Lingfei and the other 4 sitting cross-legged under the arena, and looked at Emperor Qin sitting on the stone chair with incomparable envy in their eyes. Chapter 1431. Hidden Dragon Fortress on the Arena. According to Yu Haoran's original plan, if he could refine 9 rank 8 Dragon Emperor pills in the end, he would sell all the remaining 7 pills, except for the one he promised to give to Elder Xinghai and the one he would use to experience the effects. Not only could he increase his collection, but he could also win the favor of everyone present. However, when faced with the crisis of being besieged by countless mutated beasts and the countless experts on the spectator stand standing by indifferently, he was infuriated and decided to give away all of his rank 8 Dragon Emperor pills to others, so that those selfish fellows wouldn't be able to obtain any benefits from him. Withdrawing his indifferent gaze from the experts in the stands, Yu Haoran looked at the purple-robed middle-aged expert. If the purple-robed middle-aged expert asked him to refine the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill now, then he would choose to refine it because of the promise he made in advance and the kindness of helping him. But if he waited until he finished refining the pill he had planned half a year ago, then he wouldn't have the interest or energy to refine the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill. Facing Yu Haoran's gaze, The purple-robed, middle-aged expert understood his intention. Without any hesitation, he took out the 9 jade boxes made of millennium mysterious ice and then asked Yu Haoran with cupped hands. "Pill Emperor Yu, according to the conditions we agreed on, please help me refine the rank 2-9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill." "Okay." Yu Haoran readily nodded and took the 9 mysterious ice jade boxes with a wave of his sleeve. Then he sat down cross-legged again. Seeing Yu Haoran planning to refine the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, Qian Huijin, who was slightly disappointed because he didn't get the rank 8 Dragon Emperor pill, immediately adjusted his mood. Then he instantly returned to a position 10 meters away from Yu Haoran and closely watched the entire refining process. "Pill Emperor Yu, I wonder if I can observe your refining process at close range?" Seeing Qian Huijin return to the arena, Sun Sichao thought of Yu Haoran's generous gift of more than 20 rank 3 rank 9 7 treasure resurrection pills and immediately asked loudly. Yu Haoran raised his head and looked at Sun Sichao, who wanted to observe the refining process at close range. Or rather, he wanted to be in a favorable position. A trace of indifference appeared in Yu Haoran's eyes. As an alchemy grandmaster, Sun Sichao's strength far surpassed Qin Lingfei and Tung Yunjia's, even though he was only an ordinary 6th grade martial venerable. Faced with the crisis of Qin Lingfei and Tung Yunjia not being able to resist the attacks of the exotic beasts, Sun Sichao, who had once received preferential treatment from him, did not step forward bravely. Instead, he chose to stand by indifferently. Now, he wanted to obtain benefits from him. How could Yu Haoran agree to it? The coldness in Yu Haoran's eyes caused Sun Sichao to be stunned. He did not understand why their relationship, which had been relatively harmonious, suddenly became estranged. After withdrawing his cold gaze, Yu Haoran formed a seal and began to condense the independent space of the alchemy fire. However, when he saw the spatial barrier formed by the independent space of the alchemy fire becoming more and more transparent and the barrier layer becoming weaker and weaker, his eyes immediately revealed a look of surprise. The changes in the independent space of the alchemy fire meant that the pill condensation technique of nothingness had entered the process of advancement. As long as he continued to use the pill condensation technique of nothingness to refine high-grade pills, he would soon be able to enter the level of the furnace of heaven and earth. The pills refined by the furnace of heaven and earth were more effective than the pills of the same grade. After taking a deep breath and forcefully suppressing the surprise in his heart, Yu Haoran waved his sleeve and directly opened the mysterious ice jade box containing 9 kinds of 1,000-year-old lotus-type spiritual herbs. Then, he threw them into the independent space of the alchemy fire one by one and put away the jade box made of 1,000-year-old mysterious ice. After the 9,000-year-old lotus-type spiritual herbs were all refined into pure spiritual liquid, Yu Haoran was not in a hurry to condense the pill. Instead, he took out a 3rd-order, 1st-grade earth fire lotus seed from the storage ring, and then directly threw it into the independent space of the alchemy fire. Seeing Yu Haoran throw the 3rd-order, 1st-grade earth fire lotus seed into the independent space of the alchemy fire, the middle-aged powerhouse in purple clothes and Qian Huijin couldn't help frowning at the same time. Especially for Qian Huijin, who is also proficient in alchemy, they almost directly reminded him. In this regard, Yu Haoran just chuckled and didn't give any explanation. In fact, there were 2 kinds of alchemy recipes for the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill. The first alchemy recipe was created by a peak alchemy emperor powerhouse in the Middle Ages, which was the alchemy recipe that the middle-aged powerhouse in purple clothes and Qian Huijin knew. The second alchemy recipe was an improved alchemy recipe based on the fusion of the first alchemy recipe in the recent ancient times. If the alchemy was carried out according to the first alchemy recipe, not only did the final number of pills need to reach 9, but the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill were an inseparable whole. If the alchemy was carried out according to the improved alchemy recipe, then it would not be affected by the final number of pills, and the energy and characteristics contained in each pill would have the effect of the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill. In other words, the 9 pills refined by the second alchemy recipe were actually equivalent to the 49 pills refined by the first alchemy recipe 9 times. This was also the real reason why he only promised to give the middle-aged powerhouse in purple clothes 1 pill when he reminded him of the alchemy rules of the alchemy masters. The only thing that puzzled him now was why the middle-aged powerhouse in purple clothes didn't refute and remind him. Could it be that he also knew the second alchemy recipe of the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill? After the third order first-grade geocentric lotus seed was refined into spiritual liquid and merged with the spiritual liquid refined by 9,000-year-old lotus spiritual medicines, Yu Haoran took a deep breath, and then his 10 fingers quickly began to form the seal of condensing pill. However, what was different from refining normal pills was that when the seal of condensing pill reached 12, the speed of the seal of both hands suddenly slowed down. It was so slow that even a 2-year-old child who had just become sensible could clearly remember every movement of the hand gestures. When the seal of slowly formed reached 18, the 10 fingers suddenly began to speed up the seal of the seal to the extent that even Qian Huijin, a great alchemy master, couldn't remember it. 1 fast, and 1 slow, 1 slow, and 1 fast. After experiencing a total of 3 seal changes, the spiritual liquid in the independent space of the alchemy fire completely solidified into a pill. At this time, Yu Haoran reluctantly breathed a sigh of relief, but the dignified look on his face didn't ease at all. In the refining process of the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, the process of condensing and dividing pills was the most important and the most complicated. It was also the most easy to make mistakes. Before the real pill division was successful, there was no room for a trace of relaxation and sloppiness. After the process of condensing pill was over, Yu Haoran took a deep breath again and then used the same fast and slow seal method to finally smoothly divide 9 pills. Chapter 1432. In the arena of the hidden dragon fortress. As long as nothing went wrong during the process of condensing and splitting the pills, there wouldn't be any accidents during the process. As a result, Yu Haoran only used 1/5 of his energy to observe the changes in the independent space of the pill fire. The remaining 4/5 of his energy was used to simulate the pill he needed to refine. Yu Haoran's 10% success rate, the addition of a 3rd-level, 1st-grade Earthfire Lotus Seed, and Yu Haoran's performance before and during the refining process made the purple-robed middle-aged man clench his fists tightly under his sleeves. He was worried that Yu Haoran's rash actions would destroy the 9,000-year lotus herbs that he had spent decades collecting. The purple-robed middle-aged man finally let out a long sigh of relief when the 9 pills in the independent space of the pill fire started to gather and absorb the scattered soul power and aura of emptiness. He then loosened his clenched fists. Afterwards, he retracted his gaze from the independent space of the pill fire and looked at Yu Haoran, who was sitting cross-legged on the arena. A look of contemplation appeared in his eyes. Although he also felt the 9 pills in the independent space of the pill fire start to gather and absorb the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, as well as the soul power and aura of emptiness in the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, and knew that the pill of 9 hearts, 9 souls, and 9 lotus was about to be refined, there wasn't a trace of excitement or anticipation in the eyes of the spectators. After all, the purple-robed middle-aged man had explained the effects of the pill of 9 hearts, 9 souls, and 9 lotus in detail. He knew that even if Yu Haoran succeeded in refining the pill, the 9 pills would all belong to the purple-robed middle-aged man. No one present would have a chance to compete at all. As the traction force formed by the 9 medicinal pills began to weaken, Yu Haoran woke up from his memories of the pill refinement simulation. Then he stood up. When the suction force formed by the 9 pills completely disappeared, Yu Haoran formed a seal with his 10 fingers and withdrew the independent space of the pill fire. The moment the independent space of the pill fire disappeared, the 9 pills that were exposed in the air instantly turned into 9 snow-white lotus flowers the size of a bucket. At the same time, the 9 snow-white lotuses released a clear and bright aura, which gradually melted and disappeared the murderous aura in the hidden dragon castle caused by the fierce competition and slaughtering of the exotic beasts. Similarly, Yuhauran took out 8 empty pill bottles and pointed the openings of the bottles at the 9 snow-white lotus flowers hovering in midair. Withdraw. Then the 9 snow-white lotus flowers turned back into longan-sized pills and quickly fell into each pill bottle. Reaching out, Yuhauran caught the only medicinal pill that wasn't put into the pill bottle. After carefully inspecting it, he wrapped it with Yuan Li and sent it to the purple-clothed middle-aged expert. The purple-clothed middle-aged expert did not check the pills immediately after receiving the pills from Yuhauran. Instead, he took out a storage ring and spoke apologetically. "Pill Emperor Yu, I'm really sorry. I was careless. When I agreed to refine the pills for you, I forgot about the uniqueness of the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill. Therefore, I can only use other treasures to compensate you." Yuhauran reminded him with a smile, without checking the collection in the storage ring and returning it to the purple-clothed middle-aged expert. "Amethyst Elder, check the pills in your hand first, and then decide whether to compensate me or not." After hearing Yuhauran's reminder, the purple-clothed middle-aged expert immediately checked the pills in his hand with his divine sense. When he found that the special energy contained in the pills was different from what was recorded in the pill recipe, he couldn't help but frown and question. "Pill Emperor Yu, this is not the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill at all." Yuhauran didn't show any displeasure because of the purple-clothed middle-aged expert's question. He raised his hand and pointed at Qian Huizhan, who was also puzzled. "Amethyst Elder, whether the pills in your hand are the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill or not, you can let Senior Huizhan check it personally." "Grandmaster Qian, please." After hearing Yuhauran's suggestion, the purple-clothed middle-aged expert cupped his hands and directly threw the pills in his hand to Qian Huizhan. After reaching out to catch the pills, Qian Huizhan first identified the unique smell of the pills, and a trace of surprise immediately appeared in her eyes. Then she used her divine sense and the unique alchemist technique to carefully check the pills from the inside out. The surprise in her eyes was replaced by shock. "Senior Huizhan, what is the result of the inspection? Is the pill refined by me a 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill or not?" Seeing the shock in Qian Huizhan's eyes, Yuhauran asked with a chuckle. Qian Huizhan slowly closed her eyes and adjusted her breath for nearly 3 minutes. After barely suppressing the shock that constantly emerged in her heart, she said to the purple-clothed middle-aged expert, "Amethyst Elder, this pill refined by Pill Emperor Yu is not only a 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, but it is also a complete 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill." "Grandmaster Qian, what do you mean by complete?" The purple-clothed middle-aged expert, who was very puzzled by Qian Huizhan's explanation just now, couldn't help but frown and ask. "Amethyst Elder, the effect of this pill is equivalent to the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pills that you and I are familiar with." Holding the pills in her hand, Qian Huizhan, whose emotions were once again occupied by shock, said with a trace of excitement in her voice, "Z." After hearing Qian Huizhan's further explanation, the purple-clothed middle-aged expert couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. His heart was even more shocking than before. Regarding the difficulty of refining the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, he had once asked the 3 alchemy grandmasters of the Pure World Organization and the number 1 alchemy grandmaster in the Tianxin continent, Yao Yuan. The results were exactly the same. Even if an alchemist in the Alchemy Emperor realm made a pill, the success rate of refining 9 pills would be no more than 10%. But what about Yuhauran? Not only did he succeed in refining it easily, but he also further improved the flaws of the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, making it perfect. This was no longer just a matter of alchemy ability, but also the influence of the alchemy luck. Thinking that Yuhauran might be supported by the alchemy luck, the purple-clothed middle-aged expert suddenly had an idea in his heart. It was a plan that could make the Pure World Organization's strength truly surpass the 4 Guardian families. However, if he wanted to succeed in this plan, he couldn't do it alone. He also needed the hidden dragon luck and high-level members of the Pure World organization to carry it out together. Pill Emperor Yu, at this moment, I only have one word in my heart, and that is, I am convinced. After returning the storage ring to Yu Haoran, the purple-clothed, middle-aged expert sighed sincerely and said with a smile, Chapter 1433. In the arena of the hidden dragon fort. Then this junior will accept your offer. The reminder of the middle-aged man in purple and the 9 level 2 magic herbs in his storage ring made Yu Haoran nod and agree to accept the gift. Subsequently, Yu Haoran said with a smile as he wrapped his origin energy around the pill bottle that contained the 9 hearts, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill and brought it to Tung Yunjia. Brother Yunjia, if you take the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill, when you break through the revered realm, it can shorten the time you need to reach the peak of level 9, revered realm by 1/3. Brother Yu, thank you. Tung Yunjia took the bottle without any hesitation and thanked Yu Haoran with a smile. Yu Haoran also said with a smile as he sent the 2 bottles to Qian Huijin and Qian Yuanjin. Senior Huijin, Brother Qian, don't refuse. You deserve it. Looking at the bottle floating in front of him, Qian Yuanjin first looked up at Yu Haoran, then turned to Qian Huijin with an inquiring look. Since it's a gift from Pill Emperor Yu, you should accept it. Although the level 2, level 1 9 heart, 9 soul 9 lotus pill couldn't be compared with the level 8 Dragon King pill, the fact that Yu Haoran gave 2 of them made Qian Huijin feel better. She nodded and said to Qian Yuanjin, Thank you so much, Yu Shixiang. After taking the bottle, Qian Yuanjin excitedly thanked Yu Haoran. After Qian Yuanjin expressed his gratitude, Qian Huijin cupped her hands and said to Yu Haoran, Pill Emperor Yu, since I left the family in a hurry, I don't have any precious treasures with me. So, I can only wait until you go to the Qian family. The family will prepare 2 gifts for you. Senior Huijin, you are too polite. Yu Haoran didn't refuse the gifts prepared by the Qian family. Then, he wrapped the 4th bottle with his elemental power and sent it to Bai Dongsheng. Yu Shixiang, what are you doing? Bai Dongsheng asked in disbelief as he looked at the pill bottle containing the 9 hearts, 9 souls, 9 lotus pill floating in front of him. Yu Haoran sighed with a complicated expression. Senior Brother Bai, this prince consort still stands by my words. For the continuation of Senior Bai Qi's bloodline, for the sake of you juniors being able to recreate the glory of your ancestors. When the strange beasts besieged the arena, although Bai Dongsheng did not step forward to help, he did not blame the other party. This was because Yu Haoran knew very well that it was not that Bai Dongsheng did not want to help, but that his intrinsic sword had been damaged by his fist technique, as well as the intense competition that followed, had severely injured his mind. In the face of countless Saint Realm, Venerable Realm, and Quasi-Emperor Realm strange beasts, if he rashly attacked, not only would he not be of any help, he might even implicate Tung Yunjia, Qin Lingfei, and the others. Yu Shixiang, thank you. After reaching out to take the pill bottle, Bai Dongsheng only thanked him indifferently, but he had made an important decision in his heart. Nodding his head, Yu Haoran took out the level 4 green spirit pill, which contained the 9 hearts, 9 souls, 9 lotus pill from his storage ring, and handed it to Meng Zhengkai together with the pill bottle containing the 9 hearts, 9 souls, 9 lotus pill. Old Marshal, don't disobey my orders. Yu Haoran ordered with a straight face. Prince Consort Yu. Looking at the 2 pill bottles floating in front of him, Yu Haoran's kind threat echoed in his ears. Meng Zhengkai, who was deeply moved, suddenly did not know what to say. Old Marshal, don't you know what kind of person the Prince Consort is? Hurry up and accept it. Emperor Qin, who reached out to take the 2 pill bottles, directly stuffed them into Meng Zhengkai's hands and reminded him with a smile. Prince Consort, this old subject's strength is too weak to accompany you on the martial path. I can only loyally and responsibly protect the great Emperor Qin Kingdom, so that you will have no worries. Holding the pill bottles tightly with both hands, Meng Zhengkai stood up and made the most simple promise. Old Marshal, The great Emperor Qin kingdom is strong and prosperous and can be passed down for thousands of generations, thanks to old subjects like you who are loyal to the kingdom. Therefore, any reward you receive is what you deserve. Yu Haoran replied with a smile. Then, he continued to use his primary energy to wrap the pill bottles in front of Lan Exen. Don't say, don't ask, don't think, just accept it. Seeing tears welling up in Lan Exen's eyes, Yu Haoran ordered with a complicated expression, biting her lower lip tightly. Lan Exen nodded and happily put away the pill bottles. Brother Gu, if you still treat me, Yu Haoran, as a brother, then don't refuse. After wrapping the sixth pill bottle in his primary energy and delivering it to Gu Quan, Yu Haoran looked directly at Bien Longfei. Longfei accepted. After this, just ask your father to send a few dozen more bottles of 100 Flowers fragrance wine. Thank you for your gift, Prince Consort. Bien Longfei received the pill bottles with wild joy, then thanked him emotionally. When Longfei returns to the Chamber of Commerce, immediately send someone to send 100 bottles of 100 Flowers fragrance wine to the prince's mansion. Yu Haoran's gaze swept across the people in the spectator stands, and he did not hide the cold smile in his eyes. At this moment, some of the peak experts and almighty experts who were about to be Emperor Wu in the spectator stands gradually came to their senses. The 9 hearts, 9 souls, 9 lotus pill, which could help one's state of mind and soul reach the peak of 9th grade martial honorable in less than 2 years, was actually given to someone who was not very close to him. Yu Haoran was taking revenge on them for standing idly by when the strange beasts surrounded the stage. At this moment, everyone's eyes revealed a trace of regret and anger. Regret because they did not make a move in time and were unable to obtain Yu Haoran's gift for free. Anger because they did not have the obligation to help, and they would not be able to obtain Yu Haoran's pill for free. Yu Haoran could clearly see the regret and anger in everyone's eyes. His understanding of human nature deepened, and he became more certain of his thoughts. Withdrawing the attention of the crowd, Yu Haoran bent his knees and sat cross-legged on the stage again. Then, he took out 7 jade boxes and 2 pill bottles from the victor space with a serious expression. Yu Haoran's serious expression immediately attracted the attention of the crowd. They temporarily put aside the regret and anger in their hearts and looked steadily at the jade boxes and pill bottles that Yu Haoran placed on stage. Not in a hurry to open the jade boxes and pill bottles, Yu Haoran slowly closed his eyes and recalled the pill formula that he planned to refine next. After confirming that there were no mistakes, his 10 fingers began to condense the independent space of the pill flame. When the independent space of the pill flame was successfully condensed, he reached out and opened one of the jade boxes. Inside the jade box was a snow-white lotus seed that was the size of a fist and the shape of the word heart. This is the 9th grade single heart snow lotus seed. Sun Sichao, who finally knew why their relationship had suddenly become estranged, had a strong sense of regret in his eyes and did not have the slightest trace of anger or resentment in his heart. At this moment, he was trying his best to find a way to ease the estranged relationship between him and Yu Haoran. Sun Sichao's voice trembled as he explained the origin of the pill. Sizzle. After hearing Sun Sichao shout out the true origin of the elixir that Hao Ran intended to refine, whether it was the people in the stands or Shanghai, Hua Pao, and the others below the stage, they could not help but gasp. The Nine Tribulations pill was the only pill known in the Tianxian continent that could break through the 9th grade martial venerable realm in the shortest time and improve the foundation at the same time. 9 tribulations referred to the Thunder Tribulation. 9 tribulations referred to the number of superimposed thunderbolts. In other words, using the 9 tribulations pill to improve the martial venerable realm would attract the baptism of the Thunder Tribulation every time he broke through a small realm. The higher the realm he broke through, the more thunderbolts he would suffer. If he could pass the baptism of the thunder tribulation, the small realm he broke through would directly reach the peak of the martial venerable realm. He would directly skip the early, middle, and high stages of the martial venerable realm. Of course, if he couldn't pass the baptism of the thunder tribulation, his divine soul would be destroyed. What really shocked Qian Huijin and Sun Siqiao, who were proficient in alchemy, was that 9 kinds of 3rd grade and 9th grade herbs could be refined into a 2nd grade elixir with a heaven-defying effect. This was not just a matter of alchemy cultivation and alchemy techniques, but also involved the understanding of alchemy. If Yu Haoran could successfully refine the 1st grade and 2nd grade 9 tribulations pill, then when his alchemy cultivation reached the peak of the pill emperor realm, he would have a 70% chance of condensing the pill domain. Within the pill domain, the pill emperor was a true god. He could not only use the elixir as an offensive weapon, but also gather the alchemy aura between heaven and earth for his use. Ignoring the gasps of the audience, Yu Haoran closed his eyes again and began to adjust his emotions. When his emotions returned to calmness and his state of mind reached the peak, he opened his eyes again and directly through the 3rd grade and 9th grade single-hearted snow lotus into the independent space of the alchemy fire. He waited until the single-hearted snow lotus was completely refined into a pure spiritual liquid. Then he began to refine the 3rd grade and 9th grade 2-headed purple mistflower. After spending nearly 20 minutes, the extraction of the 9 special medicinal herbs was finally completed. Taking a deep breath, he mobilized the law of speed into his hands, and then quickly formed 72 pill condensing imprints into the spiritual liquid at a dazzling speed. Just as the spiritual liquid in the independent space of the alchemy fire began to solidify, countless dark clouds quickly gathered above the hidden dragon fortress. Dispersing the law of speed in his hands, Yu Haoran formed 36 pill condensing imprints at a normal speed and merged them into the spiritual liquid that was about to complete the condensation. Just as the spiritual liquid in the independent space of the alchemy fire was about to complete the condensation, Yu Haoran's left hand fiercely hit his chest and then spat out a mouthful of essence blood directly into the elixir. Not in a hurry to use the method of dividing the elixir, Yu Haoran used the alchemy fire to continue refining the elixir, and at the same time, condensed his understanding of alchemy cultivation from his previous life, and then merged it into the elixir with a special technique. As the elixir merged with the essence blood and the understanding of alchemy cultivation, the independent space of the alchemy fire emitted a very unique aura. This unique aura had no effect on the people present, but to Qian Huijin and Sun Siqiao, it was no doubt a miraculous elixir, which made the two immediately immerse themselves in alchemy cultivation. Looking up at the dark clouds that were constantly gathering above the hidden dragon fortress, Yu Haoran's eyes flashed with a trace of determination, and then he continued to spit out a mouthful of essence blood into the elixir, and then his 10 fingers quickly formed the pill dividing imprints. Compared to the changes in the seal during the condensation, the process of the pill dividing imprints was very normal. But there was a big difference from the normal refining process. The 9 elixirs formed by the pill dividing imprints were light gray in color. In this regard, Yu Haoran nodded with great satisfaction. However, the moment the 9 elixirs were successfully divided, the dark clouds that almost gathered above the southern mountain range made the entire hidden dragon fortress seem to enter the end of the world. Under the influence of depression and irritation, some warriors with weak mental states roared in a low voice with red eyes. Chapter 1435. In the arena of the hidden dragon fortress. Just like most elixirs, the traction force formed by the elixir would gather the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. Although the 9 tribulations elixir also formed a stronger traction force, what it gathered was not the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, but the dark clouds above the hidden dragon fortress. Under the influence of the traction force, the dark clouds gathered above the hidden dragon fortress were drawn into the independent space of the elixir fire like running water, and then absorbed by the 9 elixirs. But as the traction force continued to increase, the number and speed of the 9 elixirs absorbing the dark clouds changed from running water to a waterfall, and finally to a tornado. As the independent space of the elixir fire continued to gather and absorb the dark clouds, the color of the elixirs changed from light gray to dark gray. As the number of dark clouds decreased, so did the thickness of the dark clouds. Gradually, the depression and irritation disappeared, and the sky above the hidden dragon castle became clear and cloudless again. Seeing the rapid weakening of the traction force formed by the 9 elixirs, Yuhauran directly stood up and began to make a gesture to withdraw the independent space of the elixir fire. Ow! At the moment when the independent space of the elixir fire was withdrawn, the 9 elixirs exposed in the air immediately turned into 9 gray and purple dragons with bodies of thousands of meters long. The 9 gray dragons hovered in the air for a while, and then lowered their huge heads. They roared at Yuhauran and rushed toward him with bared fangs and claws. Yuhauran didn't dodge the 9 gray dragons that were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Instead, he took a deep breath and opened his arms to accept the attack of the gray dragons. Boom! The impact of the first gray dragon only made Yuhauran's body tremble slightly. Boom! The impact of the second gray dragon made Yuhauran's upper body bend slightly. Boom! The impact of the third gray dragon made Yuhauran's left leg take half a step back. Boom! After the impact of the fourth, the fifth, and the 9th gray dragon, Yuhauran finally took 9 steps back. At the same time, every charging gray dragon finally fused into his palms, feet, glabella, heart, lower abdomen, blood, and long yaw. Slowly closing his eyes, Yuhauran began to carefully sense the 9 gray dragons that had merged into his body, as well as the changes they had brought to his body. Grandmaster Qian, why did Pill Emperor Yuhauran's pill give me the illusion that the 9 tribulations pill is the same as the 9 heart, 9 soul, 9 lotus pill that we are familiar with? The 9 tribulations pills are an inseparable whole. The purple-clothed middle-aged expert asked in surprise as he watched the 9 pills fuse into Yuhauran's body. That's right. Qian Huijin nodded to confirm and began to explain in detail the role of the 9 tribulations pill. The reason why the 9 heavens 9 tribulations pill was known as the fastest pill to break through the 9th grade martial revered realm and the fastest pill to advance to the Emperor Wu realm was the effect of the pill tribulation. The pill that was fused into the palms, legs, heart, blood, and Long Yang could increase the strength of the physical body after triggering the thunder tribulation. It could allow the physical body to advance to the Emperor Wu realm in a short time. Because the breakthrough of Emperor Wu's cultivation was the integration of the body of laws, the physical body was the most important carrier. This was also why there were 7 pills specifically for the improvement of the physical body. The pill that was fused into the lower abdomen after triggering the thunder tribulation. It could increase the origin power in the Dantian, allowing the origin power to advance to the Emperor Wu realm in a short time. The pill that was fused into the eyebrows after triggering the thunder tribulation. It could increase the soul power in the sea of consciousness, allowing the soul power to advance to the Emperor Wu realm in a short time. Although Qian Huijin's detailed introduction just now shocked everyone present, the breakthrough of the Emperor Wu realm was the same as the martial revered realm. It also required a strong mental state cultivation and absolute control of the power of laws. Since the 9 tribulations pill was known as the fastest pill to break through the 9th level of martial revered realm and Emperor Wu realm, how did it accelerate the improvement of mental state cultivation and absolute control of the power of laws? Therefore, a powerful man who was going to be Emperor Wu, who had a good relationship with the Qian family, asked the question that was in everyone's mind. In response, Qian Huijin shook her head disappointedly and didn't continue to explain. Fortunately, there was also Sun Sichao, who also knew the effects of the 9 tribulations pill, and whose life was in the hands of others. Going through the thunder tribulation is not only a process of rapid improvement of strength, but also a test of mental state cultivation and control of the power of laws. Hearing Elder Blue's order, Sun Sichao raised his head to look at the cloudless sky and said with admiration in his eyes, "Only when one's mental state cultivation is strong enough and his control of the power of laws is strong enough can he safely go through the thunder tribulation." In other words, going through the thunder tribulation is actually a process of improving one's mental state and control of the power of laws. After hearing Sun Sichao's explanation, everyone on the scene finally understood the real reason why the Nine Tribulations pill was known as the fastest magic pill to help people improve their cultivation to the 9th level of revered martial artist realm. Everyone looked at Yu Haoran with admiration and mockery in their eyes. They admired his adventurous spirit, which didn't fear death, but also mocked him for seeking his own death. Once Sun Sichao finished explaining, Yu Haoran woke up from his stupor, slowly opened his eyes, looked at Qian Huijin, and said, "Elder Huijin, I will rest in the 9th courtyard of the Hidden Dragon Fort for a day and a night. Then I will leave for the Qian family. Pill Emperor Yu, then Yuan Jinza, and I will go back to the family in advance and prepare to welcome you." Qian Huijin responded excitedly, "Elder Huijin, please tell the leader of your family that he doesn't need to prepare anything. I like peace and quiet." Yu Haoran hurriedly reminded Qian Huijin. He was afraid that the Qian family would make too much noise and waste too much of his time. "Yes." Qian Huijin nodded, indicating that she understood. "Purple Elder, 5 elders, see you in the Hidden Dragon ranking list. Elder Xinghai, Elder Huapao, goodbye. Elder Tung, Elder Brother Yunjie, see you later." After cupping their hands and saying goodbye to their acquaintances, Yu Haoran reminded Qin Lingfei and the others, then ignored the people in the surrounding stand who were urging him to stay, and went straight to the 9th courtyard of the northern part of the city. Damn it! A powerful Emperor Wu, who was about to become an Emperor Wu, cursed with a gloomy face while looking at Yu Haoran, who didn't pay any attention to him at all. At the same time, the faces of those peak-level martial venerables and powerful Emperor Wu cultivators who were standing on top of the surrounding stands also darkened. It had been nearly a day since the end of the Hidden Dragon ranking. The reason why they stayed in the central square and didn't leave was to witness Yu Haoran become a pill emperor. Their real purpose was to ask Yu Haoran to help them concoct magic pills. However, Yu Haoran's indifferent attitude made them wait for a whole day in vain. How could they not feel angry? Glancing at those martial venerables and powerful Emperor Wu cultivators in the surrounding stands, the purple-clothed middle-aged man showed a strong disdain in his eyes. He nodded to the 5 elders, then went straight to the pavilion not far away. "Let's go," Elder Yuan reminded Tung Yunjie, then rose into the air and left the Hidden Dragon Fort. Chapter 1436. Anyang Village was located in the southwest of the central area, facing the Merlin Mountain Range to the east and the tributary of the Wei River to the west. It was a quiet and remote small village. Anyang Village was built over 200 years ago. Although it only had a population of a few hundred people, no one dared to offend it. The reason was that the owner of this village was the Qian family, which had the power to influence the entire Tianxian continent. Like all other ordinary villages in the Tianxian continent, the Qian family's people lived separately in the courtyards of the village, living independently, cultivating and cultivating. Only during the annual spring festival, when worshipping their ancestors, or when there was a joyous occasion among the clansmen, would all the clansmen gather together. On this day, Anyang Village, which had been peaceful for nearly half a year, suddenly became lively. All the men and women in the village, old and young, regardless of whether they were disciples who had gone out to train or experts who were in closed-door cultivation, gathered in front of a stone tablet at the entrance of the village. Their expressions were full of excitement as they discussed with each other. This made Yufei, who was a guest in Anyang Village, very puzzled. "Sister Suchi, is there a great, joyous occasion for your Qian family today?" and Yufei followed a young girl, who was about 20 years old and had a dignified appearance, to the stone tablet in front of the village entrance, then pointed at the hundreds of people gathered in front of the village entrance and asked. Of course, Qian Suchi nodded hard and said, with her eyes filled with endless expectation, "Today a distinguished guest is coming to visit our Qian family. Sister Suchi, with your Qian family's special status in the Tianxian continent, even if the leaders of the Shang family and the Zhou family came here in person, I'm afraid it wouldn't be worth such a big fuss." Looking at Qian Suchi, whose eyes were filled with endless expectation, and Yufei asked with an even more confused face. After that, she pointed at a middle-aged man who was about 40 years old and wearing a long gray robe, who was standing in the front of the crowd, and said, "And even Uncle Tianyu, the most powerful man in your Qian family, who has been cultivating in seclusion for 10 years, has come out to welcome him in person. Could it be that the master of the Yushu temple or the leaders of the 4 guardian families have come in person?" No. Qian Suchi immediately shook her head to deny in Yufei's guess. She clenched her fists and whispered excitedly, "Fei today's guest of honor is Yu Haoran, who is known as the #1 alchemist in the Tianxian continent, the champion of the Hidden Dragon ranking in the South region, and the only prince consort of the Emperor Qin Empire. It's him." After hearing Qian Suchi's explanation, and Yufei's eyes were also filled with shock. Along with the return of the countless experts who had watched the Hidden Dragon ranking battle in the southern region, what had happened in the Hidden Dragon fortress in the southern region spread out quickly. Inexplicably, he was met with strong resistance from the 7 venerables of the Hidden Dragon fortress for unfair treatment. He forcefully defeated the tiring battle arranged by the purple-robed experts. He used the spirit of the Gu family's direct descendant, Gu Li, to refine the forbidden human pill and obtain an unprecedented 10,000-meter-long rainbow dragon. He coldly rejected the marriage request of one of the 3 great beauties of the profound sky continent, Huangfu Chuing, and refined a pill that could incite the frenzied attacks of countless strange beasts. Every single thing Yu Haoran had done in the Hidden Dragon Fortress in the southern region was enough to shake the entire profound sky continent. This had also made his fame spread to every corner of the profound sky continent, and made his reputation reach the level of the leaders of top-grade sects and inherited families. More importantly, every single thing he had done in the Hidden Dragon ranking battle was something that countless young people dreamed of doing. This had also pushed his popularity among the young generation to the peak. Not to mention Qian Suchi, even Yufei showed an expectant look in her eyes at this moment. When all the Qian family's people had arrived, the space in front of the stone tablet at the entrance of the village was suddenly torn apart. After that, a young man, who was wearing a long blue robe and had a delicate face and a faint smile on his face, walked out of the torn space. Seeing hundreds of people gathered in front of the stone tablet at the entrance of the village, the blue-clothed young man paused for a second, then said to Qian Huijin, who was standing in front of the crowd, with a bitter smile, "Elder Huijin, I have specifically told you not to make such a big fuss. Why didn't you listen to me? Pill Emperor Yu, please don't blame me for making such a big fuss. All of this was arranged by my big brother, who is also the leader of our Qian family." Qian Huijin, who had hurriedly walked out of the crowd, pointed at a middle-aged man in a cyan robe and complained, "Junior Yu Haoran, nice to meet you, Leader Qian." While Qian Huijin was complaining, she had also indirectly introduced him to the leader of the Qian family. Yu Haoran didn't dare to show any disrespect. He walked up and bowed to the leader of the Qian family. "Pill Emperor Yu, you are too polite." Seeing Yu Haoran solemnly bow to the leader of the Qian family, the leader of the Qian family delightfully responded, "Pill Emperor Yu, this is my 3rd big brother, Qian Tianyu, who is also the most powerful man in our Qian family." After Yu Haoran and his big brother bowed to each other, Qian Huijin immediately pointed at the middle-aged man, who had a cold look on his face, and introduced him to Qian Tianyu. "Junior Yu Haoran, nice to meet you, Elder Tianyu." Seeing that even Qian Tianyu, who was ranked #1 among the top 10 independent cultivators in the Tianxian continent, had come out to greet him, Yu Haoran immediately stepped up and bowed to him. In 2 years, or 3 years, you will definitely be able to break through the level of Emperor Wu and catch up with me. Since Yu Haoran showed up at the entrance of the village by tearing the space apart, Qian Tianyu had been secretly observing him. The more he observed, the more shocked he was, and the more excited he was. Therefore, he didn't greet Yu Haoran back in a slightly abrupt manner. Instead, after introducing Yu Haoran's cultivation and progress, he directly invited Yu Haoran to a duel. Yu Haoran, in 3 years, the Battle of Mount Tai. Do you dare to take part in it? Alchemy Emperor Yu, the so-called Battle of Mount Qin, is about. Seeing Yu Haoran frowning slightly with a puzzled look in his eyes, Qian Huijin knew that, limited by his age and experience, he definitely didn't know about the Battle of Mount Qin, which only the top experts knew about. Therefore, he took the initiative to walk to him and explain. The so-called Battle of Mount Qin was initiated by the master of the Heavenly Palace of the Yushu Temple 3 years ago. He invited all the top martial venerables in the Tianxian continent who had the ability to break through the level of Emperor Wu to fight for the throne on the summit of Mount Qin, which was known as the Sacred Mountain in the Tianxian continent. What was an emperor? The one and only emperor. Considering the regional division of the Tianxian continent and the custom that there was no first place in literature and no second place in martial arts, after the discussion of the master of the Yushu Temple, the patriarchs of the 4 guardian families, the patriarchs of the 13 families with inheritances from the ancient antiquity and the Middle Ancient times, and the leaders of the 2 forces of pure world and hell, the Battle of Mount Qin was set as Emperor Qin in the eastern region, Emperor Bai in the western region, Emperor Xian in the northern region, Emperor Zhu in the southern region, and Emperor Shang in the central region. Chapter 1437. Anyang Village, in front of the stone tablet at the entrance of the village. Since it was a battle for the emperor's position, if one wanted to be justified and win the trust of all the cultivators in the world, then the people participating in the battle for the emperor's position could not just be peak martial saints. Therefore, after the discussion of the 20 overlords, they decided that the Battle of Mount Tai would target all the martial honorables who had the potential to challenge Emperor Wu's realm, as well as the almighty warriors who were close to reaching Emperor Wu's realm. Of course, with the return of the spiritual qi of heaven and earth and the gradual awakening of all living creatures, the heavenly ways rules were about to fall into a deep slumber. Very soon, the Tianxian continent would welcome an explosion of martial arts cultivation. Just like how it was difficult to become a martial saint or martial honorable, the situation of Emperor Wu's disappearance would completely change. Therefore, even if the qualifications for the Battle of Mount Tai were relaxed, one would need to be at least at the level of Emperor Wu to be able to participate in the battle for the throne. This was also the real reason why Qian Tianyu took the initiative to challenge Yu Haoran. When he heard that the so-called Battle of Mount Tai was promoted by the top 20 overlords of the Tianxian land, besides feeling astonished, Yu Haoran also developed a strong interest in participating in the Battle of Mount Qin. However, the doubts in his heart made him ask Qian Huijin, "Senior, since the 5 thrones are based on different regions, if I participate in the Battle of Mount Tai, can I only participate in the Battle of Mount Tai in the southern region?" If the imperial coronation battle was based on regions, then his enthusiasm for the imperial coronation battle of Mount Tai would drop by more than half. After all, in the entire southern region, only he, Wu Zhijun, and the Valley Master of Carefree Valley had the potential to challenge Emperor Wu's realm in 3 years. Needless to say, even if Wu Zhongjuan's strength surpassed his in 3 years, he would never compete with him for the southern region's Emperor Zhu's position. As for the Valley Master of Carefree Valley, with the help of the Thowling and the 9 Tribulations pill, she might not be his opponent in 3 years. Furthermore, among the 5 emperors' thrones, the one he truly wanted to challenge was the Saint Emperor's throne. The competition for the 5 great emperors' thrones is not divided into regions. It is only based on the final ranking. Qian Huijin shook her head and explained in detail. The strongest person in the coronation battle is known as the Saint Emperor. Next is Emperor Qing, Emperor Xian, Emperor Bai, and Emperor Zhu. It turned out that the position of the 5 emperors was ranked according to the strength of the region. Yu Haoran nodded to show that he understood. At the same time, he cupped his fists and replied to Qian Yutian. Senior, let's fight to our heart's content at the summit of Mount Qin in 3 years. All right. After getting the affirmative answer from Yu Haoran, Qian Yutian roared excitedly and then disappeared in front of the stone tablet. Looking at Yu Haoran, who was already able to talk to the top 10 most powerful individual cultivators in the entire Tianqian continent on an equal footing, and who would be able to directly fight against the top 10 most powerful individual cultivators in the entire Tianqian continent 3 years later. Looks of admiration and shame instantly emerged in the eyes of those powerful individuals from the older generation and the middle-aged generation of the Qian family. In the eyes of the younger generation and the younger generation of the Qian family, there was even more fanatical admiration. Pill Emperor Yu, my 3rd brother is like this. Please don't take it to heart. Seeing Qian Yutian leave directly without giving any explanation, Qian Huijin hurriedly explained to Yu Haoran. She was afraid that Yu Haoran would be dissatisfied. Senior Huijin, in fact, I admire Senior Tianyu's character very much. It's just that he's been troubled by worldly affairs and can't do as he pleases. Shaking his head, Yu Haoran signaled that he wouldn't take it to heart. Then, he looked at the quiet and peaceful village, showing a yearning look in his eyes. After all, before he married Qin Lingfei, he had been like Qian Yutian, acting as he pleased, without caring about other people's opinions. Pill Emperor Yu, I'm Qian Bumai, the 3rd elder of the Qian family. I'm also the one who invited you to be our guest this time. Perhaps because she cared too much about Yu Haoran's every move. When she saw Yu Haoran inexplicably lost in his memories, Qian Huijin remained silent and didn't disturb him. This made Qian Bumai, who had been waiting impatiently, take the initiative to introduce himself. I presume you're Senior Bumai, the one who has reached the peak of the great Grandmaster realm. You're also known as the Master of Chaos. Withdrawing his yearning gaze, Yu Haoran praised with a smile and saluted Qian Bumai. Junior Yu Haoran greets Senior Bumai. Pill Emperor Yu, you're too polite. After returning a simple salute, Qian Bumai immediately asked anxiously, Pill Emperor Yu, do you have time now? If you do, let's immediately depart for the Merlin Mountain Range. 3rd Elder, seeing that Qian Bumai didn't care about the basic etiquette of hospitality, the Qian family patriarch immediately scolded him with a serious expression. Pill Emperor, you traveled day and night to Anyang village. I presume you must be mentally exhausted. Instead of inviting Pill Emperor Yu into the village to rest, you're forcing your distinguished guest to follow your wishes. 3rd Elder, is this how you treat your guests? Is this how our Qian family should behave? Pill Emperor Yu, I'm sorry. I was too reckless. I apologize to you right here. Hearing the scolding of the Qian family patriarch, Qian Bumai finally realized his mistake and hurriedly apologized to Yu Haoran. Elder Bumai, don't mind me. After waving his hand to indicate that Qian Bumai and the Qian family patriarch wouldn't mind, Yu Haoran smiled and comforted them. Actually, I didn't consume any of my energy by tearing the space apart. Meanwhile, I was just thinking about going to see the beauty of the cave that was left behind in the medieval era. Elder Bumai, if you have time, let's depart right now. Pill Emperor Yu, if you don't go into the village to rest for a while, wouldn't it seem that our Qian family is neglecting our guests? Seeing that Yu Haoran also wanted to go to the Merlin Mountain Range right away, the Qian family patriarch hurriedly tried to persuade him. Family Patriarch Qian, it's less than a month before the start of the Hidden Dragon ranking competition. I need enough time to improve my power with the help of the Hidden Dragon fortune. I can't afford to waste even a little bit of time. Hearing the persuasion of the Qian family patriarch, Yu Haoran shook his head and explained. All right. The reason given by Yu Haoran made the Qian family patriarch not know how to continue persuading him. He could only helplessly nod and agree. Elder Bumai, please. Yu Haoran smilingly waved his hand and said, Qian Bumai also politely waved his hand. When Qian Bumai was about to soar into the sky and lead the way to the Merlin mountain range, a silvery voice suddenly came from the crowd. "Please wait a moment." Hearing the familiar voice, Yu Haoran's body suddenly shook. He then slowly turned his head and looked at the girl who walked out of the crowd. All of a sudden, his mind was in a mess. "Junior and Yufei greets Pill Emperor Yu." And Yufei walked out of the crowd and stopped 2 meters away from Yu Haoran. She first saluted respectfully, then asked with a puzzled face. Chapter 1438. Anyang Village. In front of the stone tablet at the entrance of the village. What a mess. Looking at the ordinary-looking girl in front of him, Yu Haoran's heart was filled with sorrow, guilt, and longing. Yu Haoran's state of mind was completely messed up. "Yu Haoran, what's wrong with you?" Faling, who had woken up 3 hours ago, immediately asked after sensing the drastic changes in Yu Haoran's emotions. "Faling, do you still remember the love burial flower among the red rocks in the Blue Moon's secret realm?" Yu Haoran asked in a sorrowful tone. "Of course I remember." Faling nodded to indicate that he had not forgotten. He immediately looked at the girl in front of him through the space of his mind. A trace of doubt appeared in his eyes. This was because the girl in front of him, whether it was her appearance, temperament, cultivation, or aura, they were all ordinary girls. Even if Yu Haoran had lived a miserable life in his previous life, with his cultivation at the peak of the 9th grade martial royal realm, proficient in poison and alchemy, it was impossible for him to have any interaction with such an ordinary girl, not to mention the emotional entanglement between them. However, when he noticed the faint fluctuation of spiritual power on Yufei's face, he immediately used a special secret technique to check her original appearance. Then, Faling cried out in shock. "Isn't this Zhou Mingling, the daughter of Zhou Yuz, the head of the Zhou clan?" Then, he denied himself. "No, although they look exactly the same, one of their temperaments is like ice, while the other is like water. At the same time, the difference in cultivation between them is too great." Seeing that Faling finally realized that the girl in front of him was different, his voice formed by his consciousness was filled with sorrow. "Faling, she is the woman I dare not promise to only love Ling Fei for my whole life. She is the woman who made me so sad in my previous life. She is the woman who made me search the entire world for the love burial flower. She is the woman who made me lose my mind. Yu Haoran, immediately calm your qi and concentrate. Otherwise, if your emotions fluctuate too intensely, it will cause a change in your mental state. In the end, you might not be able to suppress your cultivation and be forced to break through to the martial saint realm in advance." The incomparably sorrowful cry moved Faling. At the same time, he also discovered a flaw in his mental state and hurriedly used a special secret technique to remind him. Faling's reminder and the threat of his own situation made Yu Haoran quickly wake up from his sorrow. Yu Haoran took a deep breath and forcefully calmed his emotions. He looked at the puzzled Yufei and forced out a smile as he spoke. "You and I have never met in this life, but we were friends in our previous lives." Previous life. And Yufei shook her head and sighed when she heard Yu Haoran mention their relationship in their past lives. Although people have past lives, who can remember them? Me. Yu Haoran abruptly took a step forward and hit his chest with his left hand. As he spat out a mouthful of essence blood, he immediately used the innate Fushi 8 trigrams divination technique. The 10,000-meter-tall hidden dragon fortune not only allowed his Pill Dao to smoothly reach the Pill Emperor realm, it also allowed the divination technique that had been bothering him for a long time to show signs of a breakthrough. The reason why he rested for a day and night in the Hidden Dragon Fortress Courtyard 9 was not only to eliminate the mental fatigue caused by the competition and pill refining, but also to use the Hidden Dragon Fortune to break through the bottleneck of Formula Dao. The result was that although the breakthrough process was very difficult, he successfully reached the second level of Arcane Master, the Grandmaster realm of Formula Dao. As for the Grandmaster realm of Formula Dao, With the help of the innate Fushi 8 trigrams and his own essence blood, he could barely remember some things that happened in his previous life. The premise was that it was something closely related to him, or perhaps someone deeply involved in his fate. This is the divination technique of the past life, derived from Formula Tao. As the Qian family, which was able to become the most top-grade family in the Tianqian continent with only hundreds of people, in addition to having the most powerful independent cultivators and top-grade peak-level master level magic pill makers and magic formation masters. The Qian family also had peak-level master level magic tool makers and magic formation masters. Therefore, when Yu Haoran used the divination technique of the innate Fushi 8 trigrams to recreate in Yu Fei's and his previous life's fate, the Qian family arcane master couldn't help but shout, "Tianyun, is Pill Emperor Yu also an arcane master?" Hearing the shout of the only arcane master in Qian family, the Qian family patriarch immediately asked. Seeing Yu Haoran's face gradually paling, Qian Tianyun's eyes revealed admiration as he nodded and spoke. Patriarch, Pill Emperor Yu is not only an arcane master, but also a powerful grandmaster arcane master. Speaking up to here, Qian Tianyun's admiration was replaced by bitterness as he spoke with a slightly depressed expression. Also, being able to perform a divination of the past life that even I, a peak grandmaster, couldn't do as a grandmaster, shows that his talent in Formula Tao is probably no less than his talent in Pill Tao. He was the only person in the profound Sky continent who had broken through to become a Pill Emperor in the Tao of Alchemy. He possessed a cultivation in arrays that even the array grandmaster, Qian Bumai, believed in. He was also a top monstrous genius with the strongest strength in the younger generation. Yu Haoran's various stunning performances had already shocked everyone. Now, he showed a talent in Formula Tao that wasn't inferior to Pill Tao, which made the Qian family members completely dumbfounded. They met when they were washing the spring water, got to know each other when they deciphered the array left behind in the cave, and got to know each other when they killed the green tiger beast together. Watching Yu Haoran use the innate divination art to simulate the process of the two of them getting to know each other in their previous lives, and Yu Fei finally understood why she felt the urge to get close to Yu Haoran when she first met him. Pill Emperor Yu, do you know what happened later? Due to the limitations of his own Formula Tao and the rule that the heavens couldn't reveal too much, Yu Haoran used the divination technique of the innate Fushi trigrams to recreate the scene of their past lives, which completely disappeared when they killed the green tiger beast together. This made Yu Fei feel a little nervous. Because she knew that her peerless appearance was a fatal attraction to men, she wanted to know if Yu Haoran had seen her true appearance in his past life. Let's train together like friends. We'll exchange insights about cultivation when we gather and drink tea together. For some reason, when he used the divination technique of the innate Fushi 8 trigrams to recreate the scene of their past lives, his originally difficult to suppress emotions gradually calmed down, and the strong yearning in his heart gradually weakened. At this moment, he knew that he could face Yu Fei calmly. So when he answered her nervous and expectant question, he hid his feelings. Oh. Chapter 1439. In front of the stone tablet at the entrance of Anyang village. Although he had calmed down, Yu Haoran was disappointed that he couldn't see the girl he swore to protect for the rest of his life because of the unforgettable affection and guilt from his previous life. Therefore, he immediately took out 13 elixir bottles from his storage ring and handed them to Yu Fei. His tone was rather gentle. Yu Fei, take these elixirs first. In the future, I will refine more elixirs of higher grades for you. Facing Yu Haoran's pile of elixir bottles, Yu Fei instantly felt a surge of warmth in her heart. She shook her head and refused at the same time. Elixir Emperor Yu Fei's aptitude is extremely poor. Her comprehension is also very average. After cultivating for 4 years, she has only reached the first grade of Martial Grandmaster. The highest achievement in her life is the peak of the 9th grade of Martial King. I don't want to waste the elixirs that you have painstakingly refined. Yu Fei, Are you sure you don't want them? Facing in Yufei's refusal, Yu Haoran asked her back and reminded her with a smile. Among these elixirs, there is a third grade, ninth grade nirvana elixir. Facing Yu Haoran's deliberate reminder, and Yufei didn't show any surprise at all. She just shook her head and planned to return to the crowd. Elixir Emperor Yu, because Yufei's mother has a close relationship with our Qian family, 3 years ago, I refined a third grade, first grade nirvana elixir with 4 other peak alchemy grandmasters. Seeing Yu Haoran raise his hand to asking Yufei to stay, Qian Huijin forcibly suppressed the trace of discomfort in her heart and hurriedly explained. In the end, Yufei took the elixir, but it didn't have any effect. Hearing Qian Huijin's explanation, Yu Haoran couldn't help but frown. Regarding in Yufei's ordinary aptitude, how could he not know that they had known each other for nearly 5 years in his previous life? Therefore, when he had the ability to refine elixirs of higher grades, he immediately collected the herbs to refine a third grade, ninth grade nirvana elixir. If it wasn't for the fact that he lacked a few crucial Tier 2 medicinal herbs, he would definitely refine a Tier 2, Tier 1 rebirth pill directly. His goal was to help in Yufei. Yu Haoran didn't expect that the nirvana pill, which could completely change one's talent and potential, was actually useless to in Yufei's constitution. Helpless, he could only seek help from the Thaling in his sea of consciousness. Thaling, do you have any secret techniques that can increase one's talent and potential? Yu Haoran, even if I had such a secret technique, it would still be useless against that little girl with the surname in. Thaling's lips curled up slightly as he spoke with a mocking look in his eyes. Thaling, what the hell is going on? Yu Haoran, who could hear the mockery in Thaling's tone, immediately asked anxiously. The soul mourning and soul-stealing skill, which ranks third among the forbidden skills of the ancient diabolism, Thaling said with a sneer. Hearing Thaling mention the soul mourning and soul-stealing skill, a strong murderous intent immediately rose from Yu Haoran's body. Affected by the murderous intent, Qian Huijin immediately stepped back and hurriedly reminded him in a loud voice. Elixir Emperor Yu, what's wrong with you? Yu Haoran, calm your qi and concentrate immediately to avoid the murderous intent disturbing your mind. Qian Huijin and Thaling reminded Yu Haoran at the same time, which immediately calmed him down from his rage and suppressed and withdrew the strong murderous intent surging from his body. Then he looked up at an Yufei, who had returned to the crowd, and said, Yufei, can I check your constitution? This, faced with Yu Haoran's request, and Yufei suddenly didn't know how to answer. Through the innate Fushi's divination method of the 8 trigrams, and Yufei knew that the relationship between them was not shallow. However, the previous life was just the previous life, and this life was this life. Moreover, she was a girl who had never had any contact with a strange man. How could she be willing to accept the physical contact of a man's body? Yufei, don't worry. I won't touch your body. I only need a drop of your blood. Knowing that his request was too rash, Yu Haoran hurriedly explained and proposed a new method of examination. Of course, and Yufei nodded happily and agreed to the method of examination only by a drop of blood. Then she gritted her teeth and cut her finger. Frowning, she squeezed out a drop of blood and sent it to Yu Haoran. Yu Haoran wrapped the drop of blood with his primordial energy and let it float in front of his eyes. Then he continued to use the innate Fushi's divination method of the 8 trigrams, which contained in Yufei's line of fate, to see the specific time when her fate would change. He also wanted to confirm whether the truth was as Thaling said, that someone had robbed her of everything that originally belonged to her with the soul-vanquishing and soul-snatching magic. As the innate Fushi's divination method of the 8 trigrams worked on the blood, a picture appeared in front of Yu Haoran. It was a picture with countless white lines. As the divination method of the innate magic became more and more effective in the blood, a white line gradually broke away from the picture and began to lengthen little by little. When a button appeared at the beginning of the white line, the strong murderous intent that he had suppressed with great difficulty emerged again. This was because the appearance of the button meant that in Yufei's fate had begun to change. According to the timing of the button's appearance, it meant that in Yufei's fate had been forcefully changed by a strong force the moment she was born. The method to change her fate was the soul-vanquishing and soul-snatching magic that could rob her of everything that originally belonged to her. With his strong mental state and Thaling's constant reminders of the secret method, he was finally able to suppress the murderous intent that kept surging in his heart. Then he increased the speed of the divination method and used the line of fate and the scent of blood to track down the final beneficiary of the soul-vanquishing and soul-snatching magic. When he saw the end of the line of fate and saw a young girl who looked exactly like in Yufei, most of the doubts that had accumulated in his heart were instantly solved. The only people who could use the ancient secret method, soul-vanquishing and soul-snatching magic, when Yufei was just born, were her parents who were closest to her. In his previous life, Yufei had mentioned that when her mother had just given birth to her, she had suffered from internal injuries due to a lack of blood and qi. In the end, she had died. After that, she had been raised by her mother's personal maid. At the same time, she did not know that her father was the head of the Zhou family, Zhou Yu's. Then, the only person who could use the soul-vanquishing and soul-snatching magic on her must be Zhou Yu's, who had the potential to be a formidable character. However, there was one thing that Yu Haoran did not understand. Yufei and Zhou Mengling were both his own flesh and blood. What was the true purpose of using the soul-vanquishing and soul-snatching magic to rob one of his biological daughters of her future in exchange for the strength of his other biological daughter? Yu Haoran, if my guess is correct, Zhou Yu's probably already knew that the ancient gods were not extinct. Thaling speculated with a grave expression after hearing Yu Haoran's question. Chapter 1440. Anyang Village, in front of the stone tablet at the entrance of the village. When he heard that Thaling wanted to use the power of the ancient gods to unify the Tianxian continent and restore the glory of the Zhou dynasty, the first thought that flashed through Yu Haoran's mind was to ask a tiger for its skin. What kind of people were the ancient god clan? There were very detailed records of them in the ancient books that had been passed down. They were selfish, ungrateful, beastly, evil, and so on. Zhou Yu wanted to use Zhou Mengling to gain benefits from the ancient gods, but in the end, he would suffer a double loss. It was even possible that the entire Zhou clan would be implicated. After all, the soul-vanquishing and soul-vanquishing art was created by the ancient gods and demons. It was a forbidden art that they used to steal the essence of other living beings. If they used the soul-vanquishing and soul-vanquishing art to cultivate a dual cultivation partner of the ancient god's son, Zhou Mengling would probably become a cauldron that the god's son would use to increase his cultivation and strength. Of course, he was not interested in the life and death of Zhou Yu's and Zhou Mengling, nor did he care about the survival of the Zhou clan. The only thing he wanted to know now was how to remove the soul-vanquishing and soul-vanquishing art from Yufei, and how to help her regain everything she had lost. Yu Haoran, I wonder if you've heard of the fighting star stepping formation? Considering the special emotional entanglement between Yufei and Yu Haoran and the danger that this special relationship could bring to him, Thaling had already thought of a way to remove the soul-vanquishing and soul-vanquishing art from the moment he found out that Yufei was under the soul-vanquishing and soul-vanquishing art, and he had finally found it. The combat star stepping formation. As he whispered to himself, Yu Haoran carefully recalled the formations that he was familiar with, but he came up empty-handed. The combat star stepping formation is a formation that has reached the peak of the heaven level. It has the power to turn the world around. Not only can it remove the soul-vanquishing and soul-vanquishing art for Yufei, but it can also help her regain everything she has lost. Seeing Yu Haoran shake his head to indicate that he didn't know the origin of the fighting star stomping formation, Thaling explained briefly that the fighting star stomping formation could solve Yufei's predicament. Thaling, I'll have to trouble you to immediately help Yufei set up the walking dipper step formation. Yu Haoran immediately said in pleasant surprise. No. To Yu Haoran's surprise, Thaling firmly refused. Why? Yu Haoran asked unhappily. Yu Haoran, I lack the materials to refine the formation flag right now. At the same time, your current cultivation and strength are not enough to bear the fury of Zhou Yu's and the Zhou clan. Thowling explained patiently, ignoring Yu Haoran's displeased question. Thowling, what kind of refining materials do you need? What kind of strength do I need to possess? Yu Haoran took a deep breath and adjusted the displeasure in his heart before asking. 3 fist-sized pieces of phoenix bloodstone, the true essence of the moon that contains the power of the stars, and a 10,000-year-old phoenix bonewood. Thowling didn't hide anything as he understood Yu Haoran's urgency to remove the soul-vanquishing and soul-vanquishing art. At the same time, your cultivation must reach the peak of the 7th grade martial revered realm and have the strength of the peak of the 9th grade martial revered realm. Yu Haoran slowly closed his eyes and thought for a while when he heard Thowling mention the materials he needed to refine the formation flags and the cultivation and strength he needed to reach. Then, he suddenly opened his eyes and ordered Qian Huijin. Senior Huijin, I'll have to trouble you to do something for me. Pill Emperor Yu, please speak. Seeing that Yu Haoran's mood had finally calmed down, Qian Huijin secretly let out a sigh of relief and immediately said, I'll have to trouble you to send a message to the outside world. Say that I, Yu Haoran, am willing to refine all pills below the 2nd grade for free in exchange for 3 fist-sized pieces of phoenix bloodstone, the true essence of the moon that contains the power of the stars, and a 10,000-year-old phoenix bonewood. Yu Haoran said with a solemn expression, No problem. While delivering the message, they could also express the close relationship between the Qian family and Yu Haoran to the outside world. For the Qian family, this could only be beneficial. Therefore, Qian Huijin immediately nodded in agreement. After that, Yu Haoran raised his head and looked at an Yufei in the crowd and said with a gentle tone, Yufei, I want to ask you for a favor. Pill Emperor Yu, if there's anything you need, just tell me. Don't say that you're not asking me for anything. With Yu Haoran's reputation, which was not inferior to the patriarchs of the inherited families, and Yufei was in awe and trepidation when he spoke to her in such a humble manner. She immediately said in a panic, I hope that you can go to the Hidden Dragon Fortress in the Central Region and watch the 5 regions Hidden Dragon ranking competition. Also, after the competition, wait for me for a while. If he could also win the 5 regions Hidden Dragon ranking competition, then with the support of the Hidden Dragon luck from the Southern region and the 5 regions double champion, and his own deep accumulation and the special effect of the 9 Tribulations pill, he was confident that he could directly raise his cultivation to the peak of the 7th grade Martial Venerable. With the cultivation of the peak of the 7th grade Martial Venerable, coupled with the inheritance of the 12 ancestors of ancient witches and the mysteries of the law of life and death, he believed that his strength should be able to reach the peak of the 9th grade Martial Venerable. At the same time, he also believed that with the powerful alchemy skills of the Pill Emperor, he would be able to gather the materials needed to refine the formation flag in a short period of time. Therefore, Yu Haoran wanted to help Yufei get rid of the soul-stealing technique after the 5 regions Hidden Dragon ranking competition and help her regain everything that she had lost. Pill Emperor Yu, I will go to the Hidden Dragon Fortress in the Central Region with Aunt Huijun to watch Brother Yutao win the competition. Nodding, and Yufei told him the reason why she agreed to go to the Central Region Hidden Dragon ranking competition. When Yufei mentioned Brother Yutao, her eyes revealed a trace of admiration and fanaticism. She was 100% sure that Qian Yutao would win the 5 regions Hidden Dragon ranking competition. Although Yu Haoran's expression did not change, he still felt a trace of discomfort. Therefore, he did not stay any longer. After bidding farewell to the Qian family, he rose into the air and followed Qian Bu to the Merlin Mountain Range. The Merlin Mountain Range was located in the southeast of the Central Region. It was more than 1,000 miles away from Anyang Village. For Yu Haoran, whose true strength had reached the peak of the 3rd grade Emperor Wu, and Qian Bu Mai, whose cultivation had reached the early stage of the 8th grade Martial Venerable 1,000 miles away, it only took them a few breaths to reach it. The sharpness of a sword is sharpened, and the fragrance of plum blossoms comes from the bitter cold. Looking at the endless sea of plum blossoms, Yu Haoran could not help but sigh. Chapter 1441. In front of the Merlin mountain range. Pil Emperor Yu, you flatter me. Although he said it humbly, Qian Bumai couldn't stop smiling. It was obvious that Yu Haoran's praise made him very happy. Elder Bumai, this way, please. Yu Haoran smiled and gestured to Bumai. Pil Emperor Yu, although you and I both have the strength of a peak martial saint, the Merlin mountain range is not only filled with powerful beasts, but also many natural traps that can threaten the future Emperor Wu. Qian Bumai reminded him solemnly as they stepped into the Merlin mountain range. Therefore, I hope that Pil Emperor you can follow my footsteps closely. Don't do anything rash to avoid unnecessary trouble and danger. Don't worry, Elder Bumai. I know my limits. Yu Haoran nodded. Yu Haoran, if what happened in the Hidden Dragon Fortress was just a guess, then I'm now 100% sure that the owner of the cave, discovered by the Qian family, must be Plum Blossom Elder, Thowling said in his mind after Yu Haoran followed Qian Bumai into the Merlin mountain range. Thowling, how's Plum Blossom Elder's formation skills? Compared to you, who is stronger and who is weaker? Seeing that Qian Bumai planned to walk to the cave left behind in the depths of the mountain range, Yu Haoran followed him closely. While admiring the scenery of the mountain range, he asked Thowling about the methods of Plum Blossom Elder. Peak Array Emperor. Thowling said arrogantly after briefly introducing Plum Blossom Elder's formation skills. In terms of formation skills and knowledge, the gap between Plum Blossom and me is like the difference between clouds and mud. But then, the tower spirit put away the arrogance on its face and said with a strange look in its eyes. However, Plum Blossom Elder's master, Gigazi, is a strange person that even I can't see through. When Thowling persuaded him to accept Qian Yuanjin's second condition, he briefly mentioned Gigazi. After that, when he was resting in the 9th courtyard of the Hidden Dragon Fortress in the southern region, he had carefully searched through his memories and found that there was no information about Gue Guzi in his previous life. Therefore, when he heard Thowling mention Gue Guzi, he could not help but ask, Thowling, who on earth is Gue Guzi? A prodigy who possesses divine abilities that can penetrate the heavens and penetrate the earth, yet is willing to remain unknown and secluded from the world. Thowling began to introduce Gue Guzi as he looked at the depths of the Merlin mountain range through the spatial barrier of his knowledge. Guzi was a reclusive expert who appeared at the beginning of the Middle Ages after the destruction of the Antiquity Age. Even the 7 most powerful supreme masters in the Middle Ages did not know how high his cultivation was and how strong his strength was. This was because he, who was proficient in all kinds of laws, had never truly fought with anyone. Following his reclusive nature, he had never had any conflicts with anyone. The real reason why he was respected by countless experts in the Middle Ages was because of the heaven-defying means that he taught his disciples. One of the 7 most powerful supreme masters in the Middle Ages, Xing Tian, who was known as the Heaven and Earth Destroyer, was his first disciple. His second disciple was Wu Meng Sheng, who was second only to Laozi Li Air in alchemy during the Middle Ages. He created the Tao Source Pill that could help martial artists directly advance to the immortal state. His third disciple was Taoist Tong Tian, who was second only to Yun Zhongzi in alchemy during the Middle Ages. He once refined the 4 immortal slaying swords. His fourth disciple was Old Man Fuxing, who was the most powerful talisman expert in the Middle Ages. He created the talisman that could instantly duplicate all living things. His fifth disciple was Taoist Yuanshi, who was known as the #1 array master in the Middle Ages. He created the Starfall world-destroying array. His sixth disciple was Taoist Tong Tian, who was known as the #1 array master in the Middle Ages. He was known to know the past of the chaos and the secrets of the destruction of the heaven and earth. His seventh disciple was Taoist Tong Tian, who was known to be the supreme master of poison during the Middle Ages. He could easily kill immortal state experts with a single breath. As for the Plum Blossom Elder, who was also proficient in the Tao of Formations, he was merely Gue Guzi's disciple in name. He had only listened to Gue Guzi's lectures on the Tao of Formations a few times. To be able to teach the most powerful experts in martial arts, alchemy, equipment, talisman, formation, formula, and poison at the same time, not only proved Gue Guzi's strength, it also showed his comprehensive understanding of the Tao of cultivation. After listening to Thaling's description of Gue Guzi's abilities during the Middle Ages, Yu Haoran felt nothing but admiration. Although he was also proficient in martial arts, alchemy, poison, formula, and formations, he was undoubtedly inferior to Gue Guzi. Thaling, since Gue Guzi could teach the most powerful expert in formula, it means that not only is he also proficient in formula, his attainment in formula is definitely on par with Taoist Tongqian's. Yu Haoran couldn't help but ask with a trace of doubt in his heart. With his ability in formula, he should be able to calculate the cause and time of the Middle Ages destruction in advance. If that's the case, why didn't he make any preparations beforehand and died tragically in the Middle Ages destruction? Thaling couldn't help but roll his eyes in response to Yu Haoran's interrogation. Yu Haoran, who told you that Gue Guzi died tragically in the Middle Ages destruction? Yu Haoran didn't know how to respond to Thaling's question for a moment. This was because in the ruins of the ancient era, the middle era, and the recent era that he had explored in his previous life, there were many supreme being experts whose names shook the entire era. In the end, they had all died in the destruction of their respective era. Therefore, he naturally assumed that Gue Guzi had also died in the destruction of the middle era. Taoist Tongtian was Gue Guzi's last disciple. After Taoist Tongtian came out to experience the world, Gue Guzi completely sealed himself off from the world. No one knows where he went. Thaling retracted his gaze from the Merlin mountain range and said with admiration in his eyes, "Furthermore, with Gue Guzi's ability and means, even if he faced the Middle Ages destruction head-on, he wouldn't be harmed at all. Who in this world could take his life?" Elixir Emperor Yu, we're here. Just when Yu Haoran was about to ask why Gue Guzi, who couldn't have died in the Middle Ages and the recent Middle Ages destruction, did not appear in the world, he suddenly heard Qian Bumai's voice. After hearing Qian Bumai's reminder, Yu Haoran immediately suppressed his urge to ask. When he looked up to observe the cave residence left by Plum Blossom Old Man, a look of shock appeared on his face. According to the growth cycle of plants, plum blossoms usually bloomed between 3 to 4 months after the beginning of spring. At the same time, plum blossoms usually bloomed for about 7 days. Chapter 1442. In the Merlin Mountain Range, Thaling, who had also noticed the 10,000 blooming plum blossoms in front of him, praised with a tone full of admiration. The Four Seasons reincarnation formation blooms and withers at will. It is indeed the formation that the Plum Blossom Elder was most proud of when he was at the pinnacle of formations. Pill Emperor Yu, don't look at the 10,000 blooming plum blossoms in front of you. As long as you touch the formation in the plum forest, the plum blossoms will instantly wither and fall, triggering the terrifying attack contained in the formation. Qian Bumai, who had retracted his gaze from the plum blossoms, reminded him with a serious expression. While nodding to indicate that he understood, Yu Haoran carefully observed the plum blossoms in front of him while asking Thaling in his sea of consciousness. Thaling, can you break the Four Seasons reincarnation formation? Give me 20 minutes. After nodding and giving a time limit to break the formation, Thaling summoned his second clone that was cultivating in Victor. Then, he explained the principles of the Four Seasons reincarnation formation to him, while looking for a flaw in the formation. Senior Bumai, give me some time to break the formation. After turning his head to remind Qian Bumai, Yu Haoran walked to the edge of the plum blossoms under Thaling's guidance and sat down cross-legged. Then, He admired the beautiful scenery of the plum blossoms while listening to Thowling explain the principles of the Four Seasons reincarnation formation to his second clone. After observing for less than 30 seconds, Yu Haoran was able to easily see through the three heaven-rank formations hidden at the edge of the Merlin forest. Qian Bumai could not help but suck in a breath of cold air when he saw Yu Haoran's profound understanding and methods of formations. Looks like the rumors are true. Yu Haoran is indeed a monstrous genius at the peak of the formation Grandmaster realm. Looking at Yu Haoran's expression, which was sometimes serious, sometimes happy, sometimes shocked, and sometimes surprised, Qian Bumai began to agree with the judgment of the family about Yu Haoran's formation Dao. Junior sister Huayun, according to the records I read in the Heavenly Palace's Hidden Scriptures Pavilion, the abode of the Plum Blossom Elder, who was at the peak of the Formation Emperor of the Middle Ages, seems to be hidden in the depths of the Plum Blossom mountain range. Just as Yu Haoran was carefully listening to Thowling's explanation of the principles of the Four Seasons Samsara formation, and just as Qian Bumai was patiently waiting for Yu Haoran to break through Merlin's protective formation, a man's fawning voice suddenly came from behind him. Yu Haoran, who was originally immersed in listening, had a gloomy expression on his face. His eyes were filled with boundless killing intent. Qian Bumai, who had turned around to look at the newcomer, did not notice Yu Haoran's abnormality. Yu Haoran, what's wrong with you? Thowling, who was alarmed by the strong killing intent, withdrew his gaze from the formation and asked with a frown. To forcefully suppress a breakthrough in cultivation, one needed a very strong mental state cultivation. Due to the blessing of the 10,000-meter hidden dragon providence and the reward of the Emperor Essence Pill's Thunder Tribulation, Yu Haoran's physical body grade and divine soul realm had already surpassed his mental state cultivation. At any time, because he could not control the breakthrough in his realm, his cultivation could directly break through to the martial venerable realm. Since Yu Haoran had the ambition to use more of the hidden dragon providence to break through to a higher realm, then before the end of the 5 regions hidden dragon fortress battle, he had to control his emotions as much as possible to avoid a situation where he could not control the breakthrough in his mental state cultivation. Thowling, the guy who caused me to be chased by countless experts of the Yushu Temple for decades in my previous life and was finally forced to enter the demon god's ancient tomb, is here. Thowling's stern tone made Yu Haoran realize that his emotional changes today would affect his mental state cultivation. Therefore, after taking a deep breath and taking an elixir that could be used to calm his qi and concentrate his mind, he replied, "The illegitimate son of the master of the Yushu Temple's heavenly palace, Jihan Yu." Thowling had heard Yu Haoran mention the reason why he was forced to enter the demon god's ancient tomb in his previous life more than once. Therefore, when he heard him mention his most hated enemy in his previous life, Thowling asked with a gloomy face, "That's right." Nodding, Yu Haoran, who had completely calmed down with the help of the elixir, said lightly, "It's Jihan Yu, who I poisoned to death with the Tianhun powder in my previous life." Yu Haoran, what are you going to do next? After receiving Yu Haoran's affirmative answer, Thowling asked with some concern. If Yu Haoran chose to kill Jihan Yu, the fate of being chased by the experts of the Yushu Temple in his previous life would not only repeat, but also cause a transformation in his mental state cultivation. He was not afraid of the fate of being chased again. Firstly, Yu Haoran would become one of the top experts in the Tianxian continent with the help of the enormous hidden dragon fortune after the hidden dragon ranking competition in the 5 regions. Secondly, with the help of the victor artifact spirit who had recovered to the demigod level. Unless those old fellows of the Yushu Temple who had been sleeping for millions or even tens of millions of years woke up, even if the master of the Heavenly Palace personally took action, the result would be certain death. The only thing he was worried about was the 2 transformations in his mental state cultivation. The first was that he could no longer suppress the breakthrough in his realm, and his cultivation would break through to the martial honorable realm in advance. The second was the advancement of his mental state, which would allow him to continue to accumulate before breaking through to the martial honorable realm, so that he could break through to a higher realm in the future. Thowling, if he doesn't provoke me, then everyone will be safe for the time being. Hearing the worry in Thowling's voice, Howren replied calmly. If he continues to deal with me insidiously like in my previous life, then don't blame me for repeating the tragedy of my previous life. Well, do as you say. To be able to reach the point where he would not attack unless he was attacked, and if he was attacked, he would attack without hesitation. This was enough to show that his mental state cultivation was still able to control his emotions. This made Thowling inwardly sigh in relief. He immediately sped up the search for a flaw in the Four Seasons reincarnation formation to prevent Howren from attacking. Taking a deep breath and then slowly exhaling, Howren closed his eyes and reminded Thowling to continue explaining the principles of the Four Seasons reincarnation formation. Through his understanding of the Four Seasons reincarnation formation, he vaguely felt that he had gained some enlightenment, and the result of this enlightenment was very likely to cause his strength to undergo an earth-shattering change. Someone actually discovered the secret of the Merlin Mountain Range in advance. A group of 4 quickly appeared in front of the plum blossom forest. When they saw Howren sitting cross-legged in front of the blossoming plum blossom forest, as well as Qian Bumai, who was about 30 meters away from the plum blossom forest, a handsome young man of about 20 years of age, with a slightly feminine temperament, could not help but exclaim in surprise. Then, he turned his head and said fawningly to a charming girl wearing a silver-white dress beside him, whose face was covered by a silk veil. "Junior Sister Huayun, please wait a moment." Immediately after, the feminine young man shouted at the back of Qian Bumai and Howren. Chapter 1443. In the Merlin Mountain Range, Qian Bumai, who recognized the young man, originally wanted to exchange a few polite words. However, when he heard the young man's humiliating threat, he immediately sneered as he looked at the young man and the 2-peak rank 7 martial honored realm experts behind him. "Old man, brat, did you not hear what I said?" Howren, who was sitting cross-legged, did not move at all. The old man standing in front of him had a cold smile on his face, causing the youth to angrily scold him. "Jihan Yu, even your hollow jade temple's underground palace master, the earthly sovereign, has to be polite when he sees me. What qualifications does a junior like you have to shout at me?" Qian Bumai, whose sneer was replaced by a gloomy expression, also berated Jihan Yu with a trace of anger in his eyes. "Senior, who are you?" Jihan Yu asked politely when he saw that the old man in front of him had not only recognized him, but also had a rather arrogant tone. "The third elder of the Qian family, Qian Bumai." Qian Bumai said arrogantly, "Could it be that you are Senior Qian Bumai, who is at the peak of the array Dao Grandmaster, and is known as the one who can move clouds with one turn of the hand?" After hearing Qian Bumai's arrogant self-introduction, the young girl's eyes lit up, and she asked with a hint of surprise, "That's me." While nodding, Qian Bumai looked at the young girl in white with a smile on his face. "If my guess is correct, you must be from the Dongfang family of the eastern region's Choyang Peak, Dongfang Huayun, who is known as the Jade Hand Saint." Junior Dongfang Huayun greets Senior Bumai. Dongfang Huayun immediately bowed respectfully as he nodded in acknowledgement. She then looked at the blue-clothed youth who was sitting cross-legged at the edge of the plum blossom forest with his back facing them. "Senior Bumai, may I know the background of this senior?" Qian Bumai looked at Jihan Yu, whose face gradually darkened, and introduced Howren's background word by word. The number 1 alchemist in the Tian Xian continent, the champion of the southern region's hidden dragon ranking, the Emperor Qin's only son-in-law, Howren. It's him. The blue-clothed youth who had his back facing him was actually an enemy on the Yushu Temple's kill list. Jihan Yu's eyes immediately filled with murderous intent. The 2-peak martial honorables behind him quickly took out their natal magic weapons. "It's him." Dongfang Huayun looked at Howren with surprise in his eyes. "Do you dare make a move?" Qian Bumai to the martial honorables Qian, and was to the martial was to the martial Bumai, to Bumai. During the Hidden Dragon rank competition, the entire profound sky continent forbade any bloody conflicts. Otherwise, the Hidden Dragon Fate and the Pure World Organization would punish them, unless it was a challenge between the contestants. To kill. Bumai to kill two. Him to kill Bumai, of Marshall S. But judging from Yu Haoran's stunning performance in the Southern region's Hidden Dragon ranking, Ji Hanyu was no match for him in a one-on-one fight. Therefore, Qian Bumai did not feel nervous when Ji Hanyu and the other two suddenly burst with murderous intent. Hearing Qian Bumai's reminder, the two peak martial honorables immediately remembered the rules of the Hidden Dragon ranking. They quickly put away their natal magic weapons and looked at Ji Hanyu. You're all formation grandmasters. Use the Four Seasons reincarnation formation left by the Plum Blossom Elder to kill Yu Haoran. Just as the Hidden Dragon ranking battles in the 5 regions ended, the 3 masters of the Yushu Temple had laid out detailed information about each contestant's background, temperament, cultivation, and strength. As the illegitimate son of the master of the Heavenly Temple, Ji Hanyu had the right to look at the contestants' information. He also knew that he was no match for Yu Haoran. But as someone who was good at scheming, he quickly thought of a way to easily kill Yu Haoran without breaking the rules of the Hidden Dragon ranking battles. After hearing Ji Hanyu's instructions, the 2 formation grandmasters looked at each other and immediately approached the edge of the Plum Blossom Forest. They planned to use Ji Hanyu's method to kill Yu Haoran. Seeing the 2 martial honorables approaching the edge of the Plum Blossom Forest, Qian Bumai couldn't help but sneer. Because of the 3 heaven rank formations hidden at the edge of the Plum Blossom Forest, even he, a formation grandmaster, had suffered a lot in the beginning. He didn't believe that these 2 formation grandmasters, whose cultivation was far below his, would be so arrogant and ignorant that they could discover and avoid the attacks of the formations in time. Boom! Just as the 2 formation grandmasters of the Yushu Temple were 20 meters away from the edge of the Plum Blossom Forest, 9 plum tree branches suddenly emerged from the ground. The heaven rank formation borrowed the power of the mountain range to make the attack of each plum tree branch reach the strength of a peak 3rd grade martial honorable. Although the cultivation of the 2 formation grandmasters of the Yushu Temple had reached the peak of 7th grade martial honorable, their carelessness and hasty response to the battle made them look very embarrassed. Damn it, it's actually the heaven rank earth dragon killing formation. The formation grandmaster in black quickly calmed the surging chi and blood in his body and then waved his fist to repel a branch that was whipping at him. He cursed with an extremely vexed expression. Seniors, take 3 steps forward, 1 step to the left, and 6 steps back. You will be able to leave the attack range of the formation. Just as the 2 formation grandmasters of the Yushu Temple were attacked by the formation, Dongfang Huayun immediately calmed her chi and observed carefully. She immediately pointed out the key to breaking the formation. After hearing Dongfang Huayun's reminder, the 2 formation grandmasters of the Yushu Temple did not hesitate in the slightest. They followed her instructions and took 3 steps forward, 1 step to the left, and 6 steps back. At the same time, they successfully returned to the position they were at before entering the formation. Thank you, Miss Huayun, for your timely help. Seeing the plum tree branch return to the ground, the 2 formation grandmasters of the Yushu Temple quickly thanked Dongfang Huayun. Junior Sister Huayun, just tell me what treasure you want. I will definitely not frown. Dongfang Huayun's assistance caused the originally gloomy Ji Hanyu to immediately feel incomparably excited. He patted his chest and promised. In response, Dongfang Huayun only chuckled and did not make any requests. She then walked to the position where the formation was hidden and began to carefully observe it. Seniors, Senior Brother Ji, there are a total of 3 heaven-rank formations hidden at the edge of the Plum Blossom Forest. The power of each formation is enough to kill a peak 7th grade martial honorable. After nearly 5 minutes of observation, Dongfang Huayun reminded them with a serious expression. Therefore, Before Huayun can truly break the thread of the three formations, the two seniors should not rashly enter. Chapter 1444. In the Merlin Mountain Range. Looking at Dongfang Huayun, who was cracking the heaven-rank Earth Dragon Trap and Kill formation, Qian Bumai's eyes revealed a trace of seriousness. Although the Dongfang clan of the eastern region's Chuyang Peak was known as the #1 holy land in the Tianshan continent, Qian Bumai did not really put them in his eyes when hundreds of thousands of array masters had not advanced to Array Emperor. However, from Dongfang Huayun's stunning performance just now, the Dongfang clan's research and mastery of Array Dao was not as superficial as he thought. Break for me. In less than 9 minutes, Dongfang Huayun, who had successfully found the flaw of the Earth Dragon Trap and Kill formation, immediately took out an array flag with a golden dragon embroidered on it from his storage ring. At the same time, he directly inserted it 7 meters away from his feet. Then, Dongfang Huayun flicked a few strands of hair in front of his forehead and said to Jihan Yu and the other two behind him, "The Earth Dragon Trap and Kill formation has been suppressed. Huayun will continue to crack the second heaven rank array, the 1,000 illusion extinguishing formation." Just as the three of them were about to continue to thank Dongfang Huayun for his help, Yu Haoran, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly stood up and turned to look at Dongfang Huayun with a trace of surprise in his eyes. He was able to discover the hidden third-level heaven rank array in time and easily suppress the activation of the array because of the thaling in his sea of consciousness. He did not expect that Dongfang Huayun, who was less than 20 years old and only at the peak of the 7th-level martial saint, could suppress one of the arrays in less than 9 minutes. With such a high level of array Dao and such a stunning method of cracking, how could Yu Haoran, who was also proficient in array Dao, not be shocked? Dongfang Huayun greets Yu Shixiao. Seeing Yu Haoran standing up and looking at him, Dongfang Huayun hurriedly tidied his clothes and then greeted him. "Hello, junior sister Dongfang." After indifferently responding to Dongfang Huayun's greeting, Yu Haoran greeted Qian Bumai. "Senior Bumai, come here." After hearing Yu Haoran's greeting, Qian Bumai's body couldn't help but tremble. Then, with a look of ecstasy on his face, he took out 2 array flags and used yuan qi wrapped around them and inserted them into the ground at different locations. Then, Qian Bumai appeared in front of Yu Haoran. "Bumai." Jihan Yu and Yu's face, who wanted to take the opportunity to ants, who wanted to take advantage of Ji Haoran's, and the others, who wanted to take advantage Bumai. Hats. Elixir Emperor Yu, have you found the flaw of the formation in front of us? Qian Bumai asked nervously, ignoring the gloomy faces of Ji Haoran and the others. Nodding, Yu Haoran took out 9 purple array flags from Victor. Following Thaling's instructions, he inserted them into different locations at the edge of the plum blossom forest and explained to Qian Bumai. "Senior Bumai, the formation in front of us is called Four Seasons Reincarnation Formation. It was created by the plum blossom elder, who was at the peak of the formation emperor in the Middle Ages. It uses 9,999 plum blossom trees as the formation points, then incorporates the special artistic conception of the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Elixir Emperor Yu, how high is the level of the 4 seasons reincarnation formation? How powerful is it?" A formation that could incorporate artistic conception was basically at the peak of the heaven stage. Therefore, after hearing Haoran's explanation, Qian Bumai couldn't help but ask. "It has just entered the divine realm and can easily kill Emperor Wu, who is at the peak of the 9th level, and severely injure the martial god realm," Yu Haoran said with a serious expression. Sizzle. After hearing Yu Haoran's explanation of the 4 seasons reincarnation formation's level and power, Qian Bumai couldn't help but gasp. At the same time, a look of shock appeared in his eyes. Watching Yu Haoran accurately insert each purple array flag into a different position in the plum blossom forest and listening to his introduction of the 4 seasons reincarnation formation, Dongfang Huaiyun was completely stunned. As early as when Yu Haoran had just shown his talent, the Dongfang family had been paying attention to and collecting information about him because of Dongfang Ting, a direct descendant of the family. Being able to achieve shocking achievements in both martial arts and alchemy was enough to show that Yu Haoran had the potential to surpass most demonic geniuses. Now, Yu Haoran had shown that his cultivation of formations was not inferior to hers, and even far superior to hers. This made Dongfang Huaiyun somewhat unable to accept it. As the most outstanding direct descendant of the Dongfang family in terms of formations, she had given up her outstanding martial arts talent and devoted herself to the cultivation of formations in order to recreate the glory of the Middle Ages as the #1 formation family. In the end, in just 4 years, not only had her cultivation of formations reached the peak of the great sect realm, but her ability in formations was also not inferior to a famous formation master like Qian Bumai. At the same time, with the help of formations, she had successfully advanced to the 5 regions hidden dragon ranking battle. This made her feel that all her efforts were worth it. However, Yu Haoran's appearance had dealt a strong blow to the beliefs she had always adhered to. In particular, when the 9 purple formation flags began to take effect, a passageway that led directly into the depths of the plum blossom forest appeared. The intense shock and impact instantly reached its peak, causing her mind to be heavily injured, and she directly spat out a mouthful of blood. Junior sister Huaiyun, are you all right? Seeing Dongfang Huaiyun suddenly spit out blood, and her face turned as pale as a sheet, Ji Hanyu immediately went forward and asked with concern. Senior brother Ji, don't worry. Huaiyun is fine. Dongfang Huaiyun hurriedly took a top-healing elixir to heal her mind. After replying calmly, she looked at Yu Haoran, who had stepped into the plum blossom forest and restored the formation's defense. Her eyes immediately lit up with a strong, fighting spirit. Then, she bent down and continued to observe and crack the formation leading to the plum blossom forest. She planned to crack the 4 Seasons reincarnation formation to see whose formation was stronger than Yu Haoran's. Just because he had successfully suppressed the 4 Seasons reincarnation formation, he was unable to bear the strong impact of the shock, causing his mind to be injured. Yu Haoran, who had originally thought highly of Dongfang Huaiyun, could not help but shake his head in disappointment. Then, he nodded to Qian Bumai and stepped into the plum blossom forest. At the same time, he put away the purple array flags. It was spring when the plum blossoms bloomed. Just as he stepped into the plum blossom forest, a unique aura that belonged to the awakening of all living things caused Yu Haoran's body to tremble slightly. A trace of emptiness immediately appeared in his eyes. However, the emptiness only flashed by. He could not help but feel that it was a pity. If the emptiness could always appear, then he would be able to enter a state of enlightenment and comprehend a special power of law. Chapter 1445. In the Plum Blossom Forest, there were a total of 9,999 plum blossom trees in the Plum Blossom Forest. The distance between each plum blossom tree was 3 meters, and the length of the forest was only a few thousand meters. In other words, the entire plum blossom forest was not large. Therefore, in less than 3 minutes, Yu Haoran and Qian Bumai arrive at the deepest part of the plum blossom forest. Qian Bumai was so shocked that he did not know what to say when he saw a kind old man with a head full of silver hair and a plum blossom robe sitting cross-legged in front of a wooden house in the deepest part of the plum blossom forest. He had a serene expression and his eyes were closed. Junior Yu Haoran greets Senior Plum Blossom. Ignoring the shocked Qian Bumai, Yu Haoran walked in front of the silver-haired old man. Then, under the reminder of the Sea of Consciousness Pagoda spirit, he respectfully bowed and said, Elixir Emperor Yu, Elder Plum Blossom, was an expert from the Middle Ages. How could his body be preserved until now? When Qian Bumai saw Yu Haoran respectfully greet and call out the silver-haired old man's origins, he walked to Howren's side and asked with confusion in his eyes. After all, even the body of an immortal martial god expert could not survive the erosion of countless years in the Middle Ages and recent ages. It's because of his cultivation and formation. After bowing respectfully, Howren examined Elder Plum Blossom's body carefully and explained. According to the records in the ancient books, Elder Plum Blossom was not only a formation master at the peak of the Formation Emperor realm, but also an expert who had reached the peak of the third tribulation of the quasi-martial god realm. Although an expert at the peak of the demigod realm could not live forever like a martial god expert, with the nourishment of the pure spiritual chi provided by the Four Seasons reincarnation formation, he could basically achieve an indestructible body and formation. I see. After hearing Howren's explanation, the confusion in Qian Bumai's eyes disappeared. He looked at Elder Plum Blossom's body, especially the hands on his abdomen, but he found nothing. Elder Plum Blossom's hands were empty, and there were no valuable treasures on him. Then, he looked up at the wooden house behind the corpse with anticipation in his eyes. However, considering that the defense of the Four Seasons Samsara formation had been broken by Howren, he was able to enter the wooden house in the depths of the plum forest. As a result, Qian Buzai didn't enter the wooden house rashly. Instead, he turned his head to ask Howren if he could enter the wooden house. However, he discovered that Howren was still staring at Plum Blossom Elder's corpse. Aside from a long robe embroidered with plum blossoms, there was nothing valuable on Plum Blossom Elder's corpse. Qian Bumai couldn't understand why Howren was still staring at the corpse. However, at this moment, Howren, whose expression suddenly turned serious, turned his head and instructed him. Senior Bumai, retreat 36 meters. Yes. Perhaps it was because Howren's expression was too grave, or perhaps it was because he had just displayed his astonishing talent in formations. But even though Qian Bumai was full of questions, he nodded without hesitation and retreated 36 steps when faced with Howren's instructions. Fouling, I'll have to trouble you. After Qian Bumai retreated 36 meters, Howren first activated the defenses of the ancestral shaman's body, then fused the wishful bell with his body. Finally, he signaled to Thaling in his sea of consciousness. Thaling nodded solemnly, then used his demigod's spiritual sense to set up a powerful defensive barrier around Elder Plum Blossom's body. Once everything was ready, Howren took out a high-grade sage weapon from his storage ring and slashed at Elder Plum Blossom's abdomen. Boom! Just as the weapon touched Elder Plum Blossom's hands on Elder Plum Blossom's abdomen, a terrifying aura that far surpassed the heavens not only blasted Howren back 9 meters, but also turned the high-grade sage weapon in his hand into white powder. Pil Emperor, this is... The range of the terrifying aura's strongest power was exactly 36 meters. Therefore, Qian Bumai, who had retreated 36 meters in advance, relied on his strength as a peak 8th grade martial venerable to successfully withstand the terrifying aura's bombardment. However, the doubts that emerged in his heart made him unable to help but ask in horror. Divine might, with the protection of the ancestral shaman's body, the wishful bell, and Thaling's spiritual sense, although Howren was blasted back 9 meters by the terrifying aura, he did not suffer any injuries. Therefore, when faced with Qian Bumai's questioning, he had a slightly excited expression as he explained. When he had used the Heavenly Ways rules to annihilate the Guliang clan, he had used the short-distance teleportation formation on the top floor of the treasury to enter the valley space where the Guliang clan wanted to revive their ancestor. In the valley space, other than a peerless expert at the peak of the 9th grade martial venerable who was about to be revived, there was also the corpse of a demigod who had just advanced to the quasi-martial god realm. Howren remembered very clearly that the corpse of the quasi-martial god realm expert had unintentionally emitted a terrifying aura that had almost torn his divine soul and mind apart. It had made him truly feel the terror of a demigod expert's divine might for the first time. Under normal circumstances, Even the corpse of a demigod who had just entered the quasi-martial god realm from the Guliang clan could emit a terrifying aura that far surpassed the heaven's might. Then, the plum blossom elder, who was already at the peak of the third tribulation quasi-martial god realm, and the corpse of a peak demigod that was continuously nourished by the pure spiritual energy provided by the Four Seasons reincarnation formation, should not appear so ordinary. Therefore, Howard suspected that the plum blossom elder's corpse must have a secret treasure that could conceal the terrifying aura. That was why he had taken the risk of using a weapon to attack. After hearing Howard's slightly excited explanation, Qian Bumai's heart immediately surged with shock like a stormy sea. He was shocked by the terror of a peak third tribulation quasi-martial god expert, as well as Howard's sharp observation skills. He was even more shocked by the terrifying strength that he had just revealed. Although he had the advantage of retreating 36 meters in advance and had not been suppressed by the most terrifying aura, just by the power of the aftermath of the terrifying aura, Qian Bumai knew that the divine might emitted by the corpse of a peak demigod expert was definitely enough to severely injure a peak 9th grade martial venerable expert. On the other hand, Howard, facing the pressure of a peak demigod expert's terrifying divine might, not only did he not suffer any injuries, he was also only forced back 9 steps. This meant that he had been hiding his strength all along. Only now did Qian Bumai finally understand why the number 1 expert of the clan valued Howard so much. He even took the initiative to invite him to participate in the Battle of Mount Tai when his cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th grade martial saint realm. Chapter 1446. In front of the wooden house in the plum blossom forest, the sea's suppressing pearl. The innate treasure, sea suppressing pearl. Howard and Thaling couldn't help but cry out in surprise when they saw the 2 black pearls floating in the plum blossom elder's abdomen. Back then, in the Thief Sect's treasure vault operation, the only thing that made Howard feel bitter and hateful, and also made Thaling feel resentful, was the Emperor Realm sea-suppressing pearl on the 6th floor of the treasure vault. Originally, according to Howard's plan after losing the treasure, he wanted to wait until his cultivation reached the peak of the 9th grade martial venerable realm and the tower spirit's divine soul recovered to the demigod realm. Then he would break into the Thief Sect and take back the sea-suppressing pearl that he had no choice but to give up. Then he would use the Fushi 8 trigrams diagrams innate divination technique to deduce the specific whereabouts of the other 23 sea-suppressing pearls with the aura contained in the sea-suppressing pearl of the Thief Sect. However, he never expected that the plum blossom elder would leave behind 2 sea-suppressing pearls. Taking a deep breath, Howard suppressed the ecstasy in his heart and immediately asked the most important question. Thaling, according to your introduction of the sea-suppressing pearls, there were a total of 24 sea-suppressing pearls when the world was first created. If separated, each sea-suppressing pearl can only exert the power of an Emperor Realm sea-suppressing pearl. Then, what about 2 sea-suppressing pearls when combined? It can easily kill Emperor Wu, who is at the peak of 9th grade, and can threaten a demigod who has just entered the martial god realm, Thaling replied, unable to suppress the joy in his heart. With the return of the spiritual chi of heaven and earth, the heavenly ways rules of heaven and earth had fallen into a deep slumber, and the 100 tribes and hidden experts were about to descend. Howard's weakness in attack power became more obvious. Of course, the weakness in attack power referred to here didn't refer to Howard's own attack power. After all, he had inherited the memories of the 12 ancient witches and had successfully comprehended the laws of strength and quantity. The attack power he possessed was almost the limit of a martial artist's ability. His weak attack power referred to the lack of an intimidating magic artifact that could turn defeat into victory among the artifacts he possessed. Although the true victor was also a primordial supreme treasure born from the chaos at the beginning of heaven and earth, it was mostly used for defense and cultivation. It was far less powerful than the yellow saber, the Xianyuan sword, and the ocean-suppressing pearl. That was why Thowling was so delighted when he saw that the plum blossom elder had 2 sea suppressors of the same grade as him. Thowling, can I refine it after I collect it? A mighty expert who could kill Emperor Wu at the peak of level 9 and could threaten a demigod expert in the martial god realm. Hearing the power that Thowling had given to the 2 merged ocean-suppressing pearls, although Yuhaoran was extremely shocked, he still maintained his rationality and asked the second key question. Thowling nodded and explained, "Using the secret refining method I taught you, of course you can refine the 2 merged ocean-suppressing pearls." But then his tone changed, and he reminded with a solemn expression, "However, as a primordial supreme treasure that existed at the same time as me, although there are only 2 ocean-suppressing pearls, if you want to unleash their full power, even if your cultivation has reached the peak of level 9 Martial Venerable, you can only unleash the power of the ocean-suppressing pearls once by exhausting all your strength." Yuhaoran, who was already mentally prepared for the limitations of using the ocean-suppressing pearls, was not disappointed by Thowling's change in tone. He nodded and gestured for Thowling to collect the 2 ocean-suppressing pearls. As Thowling's spirit power recovered to the demigod realm, not only did he unleash more power, but he could also mobilize more of the true victor's power. Previously, it was difficult to collect 1 ocean-suppressing pearl even when he used all his strength. Now, the 2 ocean-suppressing pearls had disappeared in the blink of an eye. Just as the 2 ocean-suppressing pearls were taken away by Thowling, the lifelike corpse instantly aged, withered, and weathered. In the end, all that was left was a set of eerie white bones. Thowling, it seems like the reason why the plum blossom elder's corpse can remain lifelike has nothing to do with his quasi-martial god realm and the 4 seasons reincarnation formation. Yuhaoran sighed and shook his head in disappointment as he looked at the eerie white bones. Inscriptions. However, Thowling did not respond to Yuhaoran's disappointed sigh. Instead, he stared at the back of the eerie white bones and said with a solemn expression, "Thowling, what's an inscription?" Yuhaoran asked in bewilderment at the pagoda genie's strange actions. Inscriptions are the materialization of a bloodline inheritance secret method. It can carry 50 to 70% of the power of a warrior with such a bloodline. Only creatures with the most precious bloodline may have such mysterious inscriptions behind their backs. He gestured for Yuhaoran to stand behind the plum blossom elder's bones, then pointed to the extremely complicated inscriptions on his left and right shoulder blades. Thowling, according to your explanation, could it be that the plum blossom elder isn't human? Yuhaoran felt like his soul had left his sea of consciousness after just one glance at the inscriptions. He hurriedly shifted his gaze. That's right. Thowling nodded in confirmation of Yuhaoran's guess. Based on the violent and noble energy left behind in the inscriptions, the plum blossom elder should be a demon of the ancient god and demon races. Moreover, he's a noble of the ancient demon race, possessing the bloodline of a demon god. A noble of the ancient demon race. Hearing Thowling's conjecture about the plum blossom elder's true identity, Yuhaoran's heart surged with shock. He'd already been worried about the ancient god race left behind in the hidden dragon wonderland descending upon the Tianxin continent, and the news that the plum blossom elder was a noble of the ancient demon race made him even more worried. If the ancient god race was a group of people who appeared dignified on the surface, but were actually treacherous and cunning, then the ancient demon race was a group of despicable people who didn't care about reason or morals. In order to enslave the living beings of the Tianxin continent, the ancient god race might have given the humans a way out, but the ancient demon race, who followed their whims, might have exterminated the entire human race. That's not right. If the plum blossom elder was a noble of the ancient demon race, then Gigu Zi, who'd been able to raise the 7 great sovereigns, shouldn't have been able to tell. If so, why hadn't he killed the plum blossom elder or identified him as a member of the ancient demon race? Instead, he'd taken him in as a disciple and passed on his knowledge of formations. I don't know. Faced with Yuhaoran's confusion, the tower spirit shook its head with a puzzled expression. Forget it. What's the point of thinking so much? In any case, even if the sky falls, there'll be someone tall to hold it up. The remnants of the ancient god race left behind in the hidden dragon wonderland, the Plum Blossom Elder's identity as a member of the ancient demon race, and Giguzi's intentions. All these questions gave you, Howren, a headache. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.